my phone in the charger.
viewers.
1 second, okay?
It's too late. It's already happened.
It's already in motion.
It can't be stopped. It's self-sustaining now. I was just looking at my victory poses. I haven't changed them in like 100 years. 100 years. He looks like he's doing a mad dab.
Okay, Nathan, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect. Sorry, were
We
you
can
saying
all
anything?
hear you.
Because I was not present.
Nah, nothing important. Let's play the game.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear. Alright. What should we start?
Let's do some heroes versus villains. Classic stuff.
Yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir. Also, wait, if I play some music in my ears, does it pick up on the mic? Like, do you hear this? Do you hear any? Oh, perfect. For you, keep it real with you. I will kill for you. Sorry,
Okay,
I don't
maybe
want
you shouldn't.
Don't want you to get
We're gonna get copyrighted.
strikes. Yeah.
You know, the
Let
other
me
day,
stop my amazing voice. Wait, go on.
I was streaming just on my own, and I got a copyright strike. Not like
What?
not a proper strike, but like they had to mute
warning.
a part of the video.
Oh, okay. How come? What
I
was it?
genuinely have no clue because I wasn't playing anything. I was just playing the game.
They saw Luke Skywalker and Disney was like, mm-mm. Okay, well, hopefully that doesn't happen again. It'd be really funny if the music just started randomly playing out of my mic. That'd be bad, wouldn't it?
In a way, you have too much power. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Star Wars today.
Star Wars.
I'm
Of course, we
thinking
will talk about the most important topic: their hairstyles in Clone Wars and how they evolve from season 1 to season 7. Let's
I
get to it.
like Count Dooku's pointy ass beard all day, every day. Yes, sir.
Every day I wake up and I pray to my Count Dooku altar in my room.
Oh man, we are an annoying team. If I saw this team, I would be like, damn, I'd just leave right away. That's just a...
You
that
see
is
the
so
Chewie and
annoying.
the Lando, and you're like, wait, maybe they're just ass. Maybe they're just ass. And then you see the Han Solo, and you're like, fuck.
No way.
Oh, fudge. Fudge this stuff. I need to not swear. Fudge in hell.
Come back here. Oh! How did I do what? Oh, wait. How did he get his choke back already? Wait, there's two...
Darth Vader's. Wait, they're hacking.
What? What the hell?
Wait.
That's why he... Oh, no. Because I was about to say, there's no way.
I kind of want to kill him now. This is so fun. Wait.
This is getting out of hand. No, there are two of them.
You could hack this
no,
game.
you can
crazy.
do it, yeah.
Respectfully, don't shoot me. I'm currently fighting 2 Darth Vaders if you haven't noticed.
Doing all right, kid? I'm fine, hon. Thanks. Look who made it.
Fudge got me. Wait, this is so fun! It's 2 Darth Vaders! Bro, this reminds me of Team Fortress 2. Love that game as a kid, right? But now there's just a bunch of hackers on constantly, and there's these hackers that just become snipers and can kill you like instantly from the other side of the map.
That's a max Boba Fett, by the way.
Yeah, and the team really doesn't need him as well. Like, respectfully, let me fight.
We're just getting destroyed. Okay, maybe we shouldn't play this game.
Nah, this is fun.
Yeah, fun.
Ah, this fucking Boba. Maybe we should.
He's just pissing me off. Yeah, like I'm not.
Fine, I enjoy playing these kind of games, but fine, if you want to leave, let's leave.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll stick it out. We don't even have a full
Yeah.
team.
No, think about how fun it would be if you kill one of the Darth Vaders.
Nah. I'm quitting. I've left.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna publish this video. Cowards.
We're cowards. Run away.
Okay. Are you in the menus?
Yeah, I'm loading. 1 second.
Love the Star Wars ships designs. You can't really like if you were to actually pilot them,
Mm.
you can't see anything. You actually cannot see anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's this whole thing with space operas, right? Where they're but you can start again
Spotless.
now. But space operas, it's like ship
Uh,
fights. The whole thing is that like it gets to a point where radar, sonar, and various other DARs become the main version of viewing things because you're
mm.
using such high technology and you're fighting in space, and the distances in space are so immense that you might as well just use your technology to see rather than the naked eye, right? So there's always been this perception, like how do you in fiction, how do you properly display vision? Display vision in a ship. Let's say you're writing a book or showing a show where one of the main characters is really, really good at piloting ships, right?
Mm.
How do you show that they're good at piloting ships if all they do is stare at a green box that tells them where to go? I feel like it's done relatively well with Star Wars in like smaller ships. Before like the huge ships, like the Millennium Falcon. Well, it's not huge; it's like a medium. But what's the huge ships called? The big
Like
ass
the Star
triangle shaped
Destroyers.
ones, the Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
There is no presence of direction. There's no presence of skill. It's a group of people sitting down, clicking buttons. What buttons are they clicking and why? Never explained. They just do their job. They're
It's
trying
the
to,
whole
like.
thing with Star Wars 1977, The New Hope. It's like the way that everything was improvised was the way that Han Solo randomly like Harrison Ford randomly clicks the buttons to start up the Millennium Falcon. Like that is canonically
Nice.
the way you have to turn on the Millennium Falcon, you know?
The Millennium Falcon, and it was born
And
from
he was
improv.
probably like high and drunk at the time, you know, like
High and drunk for reference, not just one,
Harrison
both.
Ford used to smoke it up, man. What a legend.
Checks out. He's still alive and kicking, bro.
Yeah,
He did a movie recently, didn't he? With
he did.
yeah, with what's his face?
That guy.
That guy that I am. Is me. I am that guy. Charging, how, man? Relax. It's the beginning of the game. Why use your ult right away? Holy hell. He just wants us to die or something. GG's.
Woo!
Got gassed.
About to make a name for myself. Yeah.
About to make a name for myself. Yeah.
He's gonna throw
I
me.
love fantasy and fiction in every way and form. Right, Nathan? It is my vice. My one and only vice. Well, not my one and only vice, but one of my largest vices is fantasy in every medium you could possibly have it. Book, show, TV,
Really? TV
like
shows? Like fantasy
everything.
TV
Okay.
shows?
Yes, TV shows.
Like a
Despite the
fantasy
fact I'm still
TV show that you would maybe like.
let's
Like
stay
that's
on
your
topic.
vice. Okay.
let's stay in topic, okay?
Just keep that in mind, viewers.
Currently, it is mostly books, but that doesn't mean I still don't love TV shows.
Oh wait, dude.
What up?
I just spawned in as Han, and he wasn't wearing his vest.
Yep, checks out.
He was just in the shirt. I wonder if that will show up again. No, that was just a shame because that was a really cool looking like suit. Die! Ah!
No, he got me.
That Vader's a hack. Or I can't aim.
Yeah,
It's a little bit of both.
it's pretty good. What was I saying?
Books are your passion. And fitness.
Yeah. I don't remember what my point is.
Oh my
I blame
god.
Nathan.
Alright, I'm sitting up. I'm locking in. If I die one more time, it's just embarrassing.
Bro, I threw Darth Vader's dead body into the void.
More accurate. Darth
Oh,
Vader.
I was gonna talk about
Ah!
space operas. Yeah,
Spotless.
love fantasy, love sci-fi, but one form of fiction that I cannot stand, despite the fact that I love the type of fiction that is usually like part of like sci-fi, right? Is space operas, books where
Star
it's based
Wars
in
is
sci-fi
a space
future.
opera, by the way. Just
Correct. It is a space opera.
But it's kind of more
And-
based off like the spaghetti westerns.
Yeah, I will say it's more of a wizard wizard space opera, which means it's okay. But we move. All of this to say,
Well, it's a classical hero's
Hey.
journey.
hate space operas. And one of the biggest reasons why I hate space operas is that I think they try to make up for the fact that at the end of the day, they are in the middle of a giant fucking metal box doing nothing.
That's pretty much
And-
how that goes, yeah.
I just can't stand it. I can't stand the fact that they try
That's
to
obvious.
make up for the lack of story, the lack of existence. Oh wait, the health bubble was so useful when they were not dying instantly. Oh my lord.
I find them useless because I'm a blaster hero. Like 90% of the time.
My fucking controller turned off. Amazing. Delightful. Lovely.
That's
And then
why
Darth
we're
Maul.
losing.
Yep.
No other
That's the
reason.
why.
Actually, we're winning.
No other reason. But yeah, I mean, I've seen really famous fake operas that people are like, oh, Hidif, you should really read this. And I've been like, no thank you. Pass. Because I don't want to experience that ass fucking I'm in a ship type book and or show or movie.
But
It tires me out.
they were in a ship.
Yeah. We're currently on a ship right now, but hey, we move. Are we on a ship? No, we're not.
We are in a ship.
This is part of the ship?
Yeah. Where do you think this is? Like, we're currently above Naboo right now. This is the Republic cruiser.
Checks out.
It's a Veneto, actually. Which is a Republic
Oh
cruiser.
my controller keeps turning off. Oh my, that is really upsetting actually.
They probably think you're a bad player.
Take advantage right away. No, because it keeps happening. I keep like jumping one of them, and I'm like, you're dead, and then my controller turns off, and it's starting to piss me off.
That's a bit embarrassing.
It is. It really is, and they just dice me up and or blow me up. One of the two. Sometimes both.
I think that said a max boss player.
Amazing. Amazing. Aiden Verso, I hate you with all my heart. If I could hate someone more, I'm probably like, I've been taken over by someone else. Not me.
Oh. Subscribe! That's fucking... What? There's no way through that.
Rip. Nathan. You got me, Nathan.
Feel that boss stinks.
Yeah, space opera is definitely one of the
Spoppers.
forms of fantasy, or sci-fi fantasy specifically, that I can't stand. What is, Nathan, for you, the one type of fiction or fantasy that automatically is almost always a yes? Like this is my shit.
See, my Darth Vader Senpai. I just killed Darth Vader Senpai. My hot take is, wow, you really killed that door.
I don't know what you're talking about. You have no proof.
Ah! My hot take is that I actually don't
I'm so
like
glad you
sci-fi
didn't see that.
movies.
Go on. Okay, I mean, my question was, is there any fantasy or sci-fi that's like almost always a win for you? Like you're almost always gonna love it. But no, let's talk about this, right? Why don't
Like,
you like sci-fi
I
movies?
love Star Wars. And
Yeah,
I
I
think that
figured.
I'm in the type of person which likes the weird type of stuff in Star Wars, you know? Like, I genuinely love, like, the prequel trilogy and, like, the expanded universe stuff. Like, I'm very interested. Like, I know for a fact that Star Wars is not for everyone, but it's, like, stuff I like, so whatever. But if you
I
put this
okay.
medium in anything else, then I don't think I'd like it very much, you know? And
Okay,
also,
but my question.
I don't have any nostalgia for Star Wars necessarily.
Why is that?
So, yeah, think of that however you want.
Is it swiftly moving on?
No, like take that how you like because it's interesting to me. For instance, like
Why
there
don't you have
was
any nostalgia?
well, you see, in my mind, I'm always like I didn't watch Star Wars as a kid, but I watched
But
it
you
in year
did though.
eight, and like then I was a child, but like I feel like I didn't watch it as a child, you know. Like I watched all the Star Wars movies in year eight, and then I watched the Clone Wars like a couple years later.
I. But like even then, you still have nostalgia. For reference, I have nostalgia for things I watched 3 years ago. TBH.
Yes.
I mean, I understand like Harry Potter. I will have a nostalgia for that. That it will be like a different breed, right? Because I watched that as a child, growing up in a household
Did you
where
just see
everyone loved
Obi-Wan
that
coughing?
movie. He's
Yeah,
dying out. Yeah, I watched that in a household where everyone loved it. We put it on every year, and like the nostalgia I feel for it will always be
see,
like
that's another thing.
immense.
Yeah, like with Harry Potter, that's something me and my sister used to watch like all the time.
Yeah,
But I only like Star Wars in my household.
with your cousin. Sorry, Nathan, what was that?
Sorry about that. No, I'm the only person that likes Star Wars in my household.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, no. So I definitely see how that could probably reducing the nostalgia factor. But then, is it a lack of nostalgia or is it just a very specific type of nostalgia? Because I think it's a case of you have this like warm sort of feeling, like this childhood. Oh, oh, Nathan, I accidentally left, and now I'm queued up for that. So you have to leave, by the way. um, Having like this warm childlike view towards a show or a movie or something, and then also having nostalgia towards it because you watched it as a child and you had that warm feeling towards it is very different to just nostalgia as a concept. Because I feel like you can be nostalgic about a thing you watched a year ago. You can be like, oh, I remember when I did that. That was really nice. That's nostalgia, right? And then having an opinion on a TV show or a movie that you know is probably, relatively biased because you enjoy it, because you have fun memories of it. Again, that's nostalgia. So, is
Oh,
there
sorry, I
not
was on mute.
still?
Did you
Oh,
just spawn in on where I
yeah.
left? Yeah,
Oh,
you
you
need to leave
left?
as well. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. But yeah, so like, Are you sure you don't have nostalgia for like for
Well, it's
kid?
more of my opinions of Star Wars aren't influenced by nostalgia. So you know when The Last Jedi came out, there was
Mm,
a big criticism of that movie was that Luke Skywalker isn't my Luke Skywalker. Luke
yeah,
Skywalker that
I
I
remember.
watched as a child would never do X, Y, and Z. However,
Right.
I don't I don't have that issue with those movies, you know? Like
Okay.
the reason why I
Right.
don't
Okay, I
like
feel
that
that.
is because of choices, because narratively this doesn't make sense. Not because it's not the same Luke Skywalker that I watched when I was a child. Because by the way,
Right.
in year 8, it was 2015. So that was like when the trilogy was coming out, the sequel trilogy was coming out, you know?
Right.
So this
Yeah.
was all pretty
So
new
at
to
that
me.
point,
Like I never
yeah,
grew up with
you
Luke
didn't.
Skywalker. I just saw him
That,
like just now.
you know, that's actually really funny to me. In my mind, you're kind of like the ultimate Star Wars nerd. Um,
You've
but
liked
like
Star
I watched
Wars
Star Wars.
way more and longer than I have.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that I watched it as a child because my family loved movies, but then as a teenager, I didn't really rewatch it myself, so I had a decent understanding of it, but I hadn't had a good memory of the movies. And then we rewatched it that first time, and that was my first proper rewatch of all the Star Wars movies. That's why I was familiar with the series and all the lore, but like I could actually be surprised by random tidbits and stuff. And that's why I consider myself a junior to your Star Wars nerddom.
I think I have
But
watched
funnily
the
enough,
correct amount of Star Wars at exactly the right time.
you think?
I think
That's
so
interesting.
because so I watched all the movies in year 8, and I started with original trilogy because my mum likes those movies. So we watched those together.
Yeah.
She's never seen the
Okay.
prequels, and I really liked them. Um, so I had watched them, and then I was anticipating Force Awakens. I saw
Right.
Rogue One in cinema, and then
Nice.
I think 2 years later, I had watched The Clone Wars and finished it by 2020. And
Damn.
then I didn't realize that season 6 of The Clone Wars was significantly shorter because I didn't know that the show got cancelled.
Right. Oh,
But,
Nathan, your mic is cutting out a little bit, and you're a lot quieter than before.
hello, can you hear me now?
Uh, did you? I heard the word now.
Adatha.
Oh, there you go. That was very clear.
Okay. Yeah, so by 2020, I had finished The Clone Wars. Didn't realize the show got cancelled, but literally, like, pretty soon after I finished, there was the Clone Wars Season 7 trailer that had came out.
Right.
And
Right.
basically, that came out, I think, March of 2020. This Obi-Wan's AFK. Big Daddy. So,
Ray is Big Daddy no more.
that's a Jakku name, bro. So I feel like things came out by the time in correspondence to the stuff I liked, if that makes sense.
Right.
So like we had the Obi-Wan show, which for me, I've only loved Obi-Wan since 2015, and from 2022, I liked those characters because I was a big fan of the prequel trilogy. I just feel like a lot of good things happened. Like I just feel like I was really lucky, you know. Like
Right.
the
Yeah.
Ahsoka show again,
Everything fell
something
into
that was
place.
something relatively new to me, which I ended up loving.
Right.
But I think that season 7 of the Clone Wars is like the best Star Wars out there. You know,
It is
the
peak.
Bad Batch wrapped up this year, but this is the thing now, Hadefa. So I watched 3 episodes of The Acolyte, and I never went back. Not because I necessarily hated it. It's just I feel like I've got to the point of where I got to with The Walking Dead, which is I just don't need to watch this anymore.
Right.
Like I could,
So okay.
I could stop.
Apparently,
I could stop a day for.
That the Acolyte is really, really, really good.
Good. I have not seen a single positive thing about the show.
Yeah. So all my opinions on it come from you, and you said you didn't quite enjoy it. Like you
It's not that I
really.
didn't. I just didn't think
Exactly,
anything.
You wouldn't. No, but that's the thing, right?
But
If it's a
also,
Star Wars
it
show, you
doesn't
don't-
matter to me anymore.
Right.
In the sense
okay, I feel
that, so I am at a point now where, like, I like certain things enough for them to, like, influence my opinion. Not out of nostalgia, just get out of things I like. Bias. I have bias now. And, the Acolyte literally is so far away in the timeline to all the stuff which I do love.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know, they could do whatever they want, really. I don't fucking care.
Right. Okay, I feel that. So from another Star Wars nerd that I know, they said that because
Sorry.
so from what I understand, Rogue One is about one of the characters. Acolyte is about one of the characters in Rogue One, and
Oh
it is,
my god,
about
Hideo,
him.
for you are so incredibly wrong. It's unreal.
What?
You're thinking of Andor, which is very good. I have watched Andor.
Oh, wait, Acolyte is the new movie.
Acolyte is
Is it
a
really?
series. It's a TV
Is it not-
show which came out this year, which got cancelled immediately.
Wait, no way. it got
Because,
cancelled.
yeah, it's set in like the Old Republic time.
Right, no, I remember it being set.
We saw the trailer when we watched the
Yeah.
Phantom Menace in cinema, remember?
I distinctly recall it now. Sorry, I mixed them up.
You did.
Okay, but you like Andor?
Yeah, Andor's really good. I think it's a bit useless because, well, you know where that's going to end.
Fucking Chewie. See, this is exactly what I said to the guy. I was like, the thing about Andor is I don't know if I want to watch it because what if I really like it and then in my brain I like it less because the character in it I know dies.
But
And I
then
know how they
again,
die
like,
and everything.
yeah, we saw it. We saw it got Death Star, and we
Yeah, we're getting shot the fuck up, bro. What the hell's going on? We need to lock in.
I'm 1v running Yoda.
Well, stop it because the second you look away, both Chewie and Leia will wreck your ass.
Leia's gonna rep my
Let me sit on
what?
there. You heard what I said.
Yeah, that thing that you just said is happening.
Called it.
But then you can make that same argument with like a lot of Star Wars. Like if you
Wrecking
watch,
ass?
nah. Well, I don't know what the Ewoks did to the Empire, but what I mean is, if you watch the original trilogy, and then it's like, oh look, this is a whole trilogy about Anakin Skywalker. I guess we know how he died, you know, we saw it.
Oh lol, he's dead. Yeah, true. But I don't know, it feels kind of different. It's especially
He's a
when it's
legacy character, so. But if you have no nostalgia towards that, then I guess it's a bit weird. Bruh. Look, he got yeered, bruh, in the sand.
He hates the sand. Oh, he does. Yeah, what pizzazz? What pizzazz?
So he's on a slither of health.
Get him.
You see, this is also like the same argument which I've said about Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones, like I don't hate the ending because I didn't wait every Monday morning, Monday night at 9 o'clock to watch the show for 8 years, you know?
Right. Okay,
So,
I feel that. Isn't it sad?
if I had watched this show for 8 years and it ended the way it did, yeah, I'd be a little angry.
Pissed.
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
pissed, but I'd be angry. Like I'd be like, that's kind of a weird way to end the show. Same with How I Met Your Mother. That's a show I watched in like a month.
You didn't have the emotional baggage.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love the characters and I love the show, and I think that like choices don't make sense, but it doesn't keep me up at night. Is that? Do you think that streaming has been the death of television?
No, okay. I agree.
An
Is
aspect
it
of
the
television.
question? Is it the question of streaming, or is it the question of how people have a relationship with shows these days?
Yes. Okay. So this is something new which I found about The Walking Dead.
Right.
So we are watching The Walking Dead. Viewers, we are watching The Walking Dead at a snail's pace, but we do watch it. I have finished the show many times, blah, blah. Hidayth has never seen it before. But,
Indeed.
so this is a show which I did watch week to week. And a big aspect to where this show's viewership died is season 7, the season finale of season 6 and season 7, episode 1. And this is because they panicked. They made a few messes up in the season, and they kind of left you on a cliffhanger, which really didn't have to be there.
Right.
And everyone tuned in for season 7, episode 1, which I do think is a good episode. And then just no one watched the show after that. The statistics dropped rapidly. However, with recent years, The Walking Dead being on Disney Plus, you didn't have to wait 6 months to know what happened at the end of the season. So all of a sudden, season 7 has gotten like a lot more views and like a lot more better responses in recent media, and this is because it's just not airing on television anymore. And it completely changes the relationship with the viewers.
100%. You have to consider the fact that like there are nerds like me and you, and there are always going to be nerds like me and you, right? People who watch the show try to not even like as an objective, but just by watching the show. And one of the ways we enjoy it is by breaking it down, seeing the interesting parts, the narrative questions, what the themes are being said, all that kind of stuff. The other side of the coin is that there are a bunch of normal human beings that just want to watch the nice,
just watch
funny,
a show,
great, dramatic show. And they want to be happy. They want to be pleased. They want to be enjoying
well, they shouldn't watch
the
The
shit
Walking
out of the
Dead
show.
for that.
I mean, well, they want to be shocked and awed and happy. And it's just a case of
Entertained.
if they, entertained is a good word. If they come in and see nothing but trash, they're gonna be like, all right, that's what needs to that's being expected. I have 1,000 other shows to watch. Why would I continue watching the show? If we sit down and we're like, let's watch a season of the show that we know we really want to watch. If episode 1 of season 1 is or season 7 is bad, we're gonna watch the rest of the episodes. We're gonna watch each and every single one of those episodes.
And it's even if we accessible as well, you know.
Okay, now that you have that accessibility, all of a sudden that waiting is gone. So you don't have to put your entire weight onto it anymore. So those normal viewers, those everyday, not us viewers. They don't have to deal with the bullshit that is waiting for a show that might as well be trash. So they can binge through episode 1, hate it, binge through episode 2, be like, okay, this is better, and then go through the entire season.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a lot of people love season 7. I mean,
exactly.
That's the vibe that
well, they don't love it, but it's just it was a cheap stunt to get people to watch the show.
I see.
It's a cliffhanger on someone dies, but you don't know who it is.
Right. See, okay.
Not to mention that there was already a death fake out 3 episodes prior, which you had to wait 4 weeks for to find out because The Walking Dead has stupid boomerang storytelling. So they're like a cliffhanger, and then the next week they don't focus on those characters. So you just don't know what happened. So you're waiting like 4 weeks to find out what the hell happened to a character. Turns out they just crawled under a bin. So
accurate zombie. Yeah, accurate.
You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah. You've touched on the topic I was mentioning, but you've kind of come from it in a different direction. The relationship people have with TV shows these days, definitely very much influenced by streaming. Very,
Yeah.
very, very much influenced by streaming. Not just streaming, because even now you do have delayed releases and the such. But every once in a while you get a show that just comes out all at once. It's
Well,
like
look
the
at
entire season.
Stranger Things and Invincible season 2 for an exact example of that.
100%.
And they were both taken really negatively as well. Stranger
100%.
Things had the gap in between for 2 episodes, same as Invincible had a mid-season
Invincible.
break for no reason.
Fludging hell, hated that.
But also, I do
and
think
it's-
that that's like it gets you thinking about the characters, you know.
Exactly. And what it also does is that it extends the season. Because you have a show, you have popularity, you have people talking about it, they're going onto Instagram, they're going onto Twitter, they're raving about this great
Yeah.
show. If it ends in a week, the popularity is gone in a week.
And also,
If it
like,
goes
I
on for
feel,
months-
especially when Stranger Things was such a big thing, like, I felt like I had to finish the show, otherwise I was going to get spoiled online.
Definitely.
Like, it was
definitely. Well,
and with it not being the end, there is kind of a safety net there for you.
100%. But okay, so we keep mentioning the positive things, and like streaming, it has 1,000 different positive things. But I genuinely believe that not just streaming, but the way we absorb information, the way we take in shows in this day and age, has really fucked with how we enjoy them, right? Because once upon a time, there was this tradition, right? Now I'm not saying waiting for shows to come out episode by episode. I'm not saying sitting through a 3-minute advertisement every 30 minutes. I'm not saying having to catch a show or put it on recording, and if you forget to do that, you're just cooked until it reruns again, right? I'm not saying any of these things are good, but it definitely controlled the way a huge population of TV show watchers reacted to shows and movies. It's
That's
like it
true.
defined a huge amount of their enjoyment
Yeah.
for it. For example, we're talking about Game of Thrones. You talked about how these people had a huge emotional attachment to the show, to this, how it's gonna
But
go.
even like
if it was gonna be
friendships,
good.
like socially, TV used to be a very different thing. It used to be, you know how I'm very much someone who I will go to and pay for the cinema because I like the experience. TV
Yep.
is equally as important. However, I just don't think it's talked about enough. Like, I used to bond with my mum by watching, like, The Walking Dead, for example. And I think that the relationship has changed drastically, you know? So, an example would be... So, I've recently started watching Breaking Bad. I'm actually on the last episode. Damn. I'm on the last episode of Breaking Bad. But with
you move fast, man. You
with
move fast.
streaming, like I didn't realize how far I was going. If like I didn't know when season 1 finished, for example. Yeah, like I didn't know when season 1 finished because you just click the next episode, you know. Also, being able to pause episode whenever you like is insane. Because I'm not sure what it was like
100%.
in your family, but like we used to like watch a show together. When the ads come on, it would be like, quick, use the bathroom, make some coffee or whatever, and then like
It was
you know you're
definitely-
screaming at your siblings till it's back on. Yeah. So they run back to the
Word
screen,
for
you know.
word, bar for bar.
Yeah.
Very, very similar.
And it's very
up
different
to a
now.
point, of course. But, yeah, and like, okay, we can bemoan all these things. At the end of the day, we're probably at least a little bit biased because nostalgia. But you have to accept the fact that the way shows have been condensed into these little balls of like, oh, you're gonna binge this show for the next week, and then you're gonna binge this show for the next. It has drastically changed how people absorb it and such. And I won't say I actually like the old way more, because I don't think I do. I prefer having more shows, and we have more shows this way.
I feel like we can. I feel like it's different. Not in a bad way or in a good way, but it is
It's just
different.
Exactly. And I say all of this, right? I think different people reacted to it in different ways. and some of them in really healthy ways, where they took time to absorb these shows, to rewatch shows even, and enjoy it in a way they probably couldn't in that old time,
shit.
right? That's what I'm saying. But I don't think that's the case for many people.
Another thing about TV is that an episode of TV has to capture you for an hour, and it has to have its own. It has to have its own like storyline and rhythm for it to work. It's not a movie cut into pieces, you know? It has to be its own thing. However, when you watch it on streaming, sometimes the episodes can just bleed so effortlessly into the next. It doesn't, like the Netflix Marvel shows, like the like Daredevil, for example. It doesn't feel like I'm watching an episode of TV. It just sounds like I'm watching a long narrative.
A big ass movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely changed a lot of things and how we perceive it as such. And I don't think TV is gonna last very long. I mean, I say that, no, I mean, as a fact, TV is not gonna last very long. It's already been taken over by streaming sites to the point where like it's a well-known fact. But it's kind of a shame. It makes me sad. It's like at the end of the day, families are always gonna have like TV get-togethers. That's gonna be a reality that's probably never gonna leave ever. But the way it's done matters. It changes how people react to things. Before it was a tradition, now it's a Wednesday. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll give you two examples of how one of these was done really good and one of them was just done. So
it was a thing.
It was a thing. So, for example, The Mandalorian's premiere and like in terms of Disney Plus, that's built on like The Mandalorian, and I think The Mandalorian is for me equivalent to like event TV. It came out weekly, and it felt like I was watching Star Wars. It felt like I was really watching something unfold. Every episode had its own storyline and narrative, but as a whole, it worked in a really engaging level, and it looked beautiful, and it was like old Star Wars, you know? But I think that Disney, they got the wrong message from that, because like the Echo show came out this year, and it's like who the fuck asked for this? Who asked for this
Nobody
show?
wants this.
And also they just dropped it all at once, like it was an accident, you know? So there's just 6 hours of this show which you can just watch. No one spoke about it. There was no buzz around it. Even like Agatha All Along is another. Like, okay, WandaVision is a good example.
Is
of,
that good? Agatha All Along?
I watched one episode and then I haven't been back yet. Not because it was bad, but I don't think it was like, it didn't blow me away the way that like WandaVision did.
WandaVision. High bar.
Yeah. Like, I think that people blame Phase 4 Marvel for a lot, but I don't think it's like, a lot of the stuff from Phase 4 Marvel was actually quite good. And in terms of like how we consume media and content, I think it works in an engaging level. Like WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki are 3 shows which had a lot of hype around them.
And they were good too.
And they were really good. And like, it's just interesting to spend time with characters which we already know from the last 10 years. But
Also,
then when you just expect people to watch a show, 6 hours of a show, all at once, like,
it becomes
why?
A commitment.
It's a chore, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing though, right? We are willing to have that commitment. The huge amount of populace, less so. And even us.
But I'm finding it, like, hard to do now, you know?
Yeah. And
for instance, like, The Skeleton Crew is a Star Wars show which came out 3 weeks ago, and I haven't watched a single episode. Acolyte I haven't finished, and Star Wars is my... Like, I used to love Star Wars more than Marvel.
Crazy work. I mean, I feel that, but still.
Like, the season finale of... like, season 2 of The Mandalorian blew me away. That made my year, Adefa. but season 3 was just kind of mid. Like the ending of season 2 of The Mandalorian was so good that it ruined season 3 because like it was done. Like the storyline was done.
Like finito. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing. So okay. Oh, you know what? This pivots to a really, really important point. With blah 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 blah. TV's changed. Blah 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 blah. Streaming, right? Streaming. It's been modernized. It's become more content, money, money, money. And because
Right.
it's like that, one thing that has become so important is keeping up with the consumption, right? Because
Nice
we
one.
talk about it like people has given up on shows because you know of all blah blah all these issues that we're talking about, but they haven't really. In fact, TV hasn't been bigger ever. Like this is the biggest TV has been, even though it's not really TV anymore.
There's just so much. There's so much more.
There's so much more, and yet it's still not enough. So you want to know what creators do? They pivot to making even more. And how do they pivot to making even more? Do they give money to like new writers? Do they pay animation studios? Do they look at directors who've done good jobs before and give them more money? No.
Nah.
That would be stupid, Nathan. That would be idiotic. Instead, they half-ass 90% of the fucking shows. And the 10% of the shows that are given even a moment of time because they're creatively interesting, because they're complex, because they're actually fun, if they
Gets
don't
cancelled.
do well in their first season...
Yeah, exactly. A show doesn't... Game of Thrones didn't go get crazy numbers.
Well, sorry, 5 seasons. 5 fucking seasons until it reached its peak. 5
Yeah.
seasons, Nathan. It makes me furious.
So this is something that I
was.
was looking at today. I was looking at the
Right.
highest rated episodes of TV ever. And Game of Thrones was up there, but that wasn't until the 4th season, you know? Breaking Bad was up there, but not until the 4th season as well. You need to let it cook. But they don't let it cook. Even Gravity
would
Falls
they?
was up there, you know? But that was from later on, you know what I'm saying?
See, I mean, okay, we talk about like it's a new thing. Gravity Falls came out, what, 2017, 16, somewhere around there? Gravity Falls, Alex Hirsch had to climb walls. He had to walk on water to get that show done. Like, when I tell you he would send in an episode, Disney would be like, no. He would be like, no,
2012.
please. Disney would be like, no. It was... Have you seen, Nathan, have you seen the Disney rejected and then Alex rejected Disney's rejection video? I'll send it to you.
No.
But it's some of the most entertaining... What was that? Sorry?
No, I haven't.
I'll send it to you. It's some of the most entertaining... Because it's like, you know how like the 2 police officers
Gay.
were very, very clearly gay? Disney was like, this can't be done.
Right.
And Alex Hirsch was like, alright, fine. They're really good best friends.
Mm.
And it's so
See,
funny
it's
to me.
studio interference is just the kiss of death to creativity.
Oh god!
You know?
And it's like, if Disney didn't let Alex Hirsch do as he wanted, for your reference, Windmageddon wouldn't have happened the way it happened if Gravity Falls wasn't famous.
Right.
If it wasn't pulling in as much money as it was doing,
It would
wouldn't
just be
have
another
any bloody
churned out
waterfalls. Exactly. And I could go on a rant about animated TV shows right now, but let's not, because
Yeah.
I will become explosive.
Wait, can I spoil The Mandalorian for you?
No, I really actually do want to watch that show, so please don't.
Okay.
Please do not.
But it's
Pivot
I could
to
talk
something
to you
else.
about it without it being a spoiler.
No, even then, I feel like you'll end up spoiling tiny bits.
Okay.
Okay. All of this to say, it's stupid how studios go, oh, we make money off TV shows. We should make more shitty TV shows that no one wants. And we should cancel all the ones that are half interesting. Inside Job. I don't know if you watch Inside Job. Did you watch Inside Job?
No.
Okay, animated TV show. It's about like the Illuminati and like conspiracy theories. It's a really satirical take on the idea. It's a great comedy that gets emotional and really interesting and intellectual. It gives Gravity Falls and Rick and Morty type feel. You know what I mean?
Okay, right.
when I tell you it's so good, it makes me want to cry. I watched season 2 and I was, you know when you watch something and you're like, this is good, and then you watch something and you go, this is life changing, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Season 2 was the latter. They cancelled the show.
Right. It's just
Cancelled
heartbreaking
the show
when
after
shows get
season 2.
cancelled, man.
And when I tell you there was an internet outbreak,
Right.
people were screaming their heads off. Not only did they end on a cliffhanger, not only were they reaching a point that was really
Oh, a
fucking
cliffhanger as well. Oh, that's.
Not only was the show getting serious, because like you obviously with comedy animations especially, you have this period of time where it's very like ha ha ha, and then it gets a little bit serious, and then the comedy takes a backseat, and you have this really beautiful drama all of a sudden, right? Go get him, because I cannot reach it. And then they cancelled it,
Right.
and it was the most depressing shit. All of 2023, I was so pissed off. I was so pissed. I made Leon watch that show for reference.
Right.
Leon
You never make anyone
was
watch any-
obsessed. He was obsessed with that show. I think it was Leon. I'm pretty sure it was Leon. Correct. We'll ask him later, but I'm almost entirely sure. And it's just so upsetting seeing good shows suffer because people don't want to give them the time.
People
oh my God,
didn't
that guy fucking
TikTok
froze.
about it.
On God, people didn't TikTok about it. No, you know what the most unfair thing about that show specifically was? People did TikTok about it. People loved that show, Nathan. They were
Right.
obsessed with it. I think it was just a case of the opening week didn't make enough money, and Netflix has this whole opening week thingy.
Yeah. Netflix are weird though. They never release their numbers.
Yeah, they are a bit bizarre with it. Low-key, they're a cult. I digress. How do you expect to flourish as a creative company if you're not willing to give your own creations time to breathe? It doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense, Nathan.
You have to let it cook, you know. But Avatar: The Last Airbender is an example
Oh.
of how they let it cook. I don't know much about the behind the scenes and like production of the show, but in terms of storytelling and like just narrative layout, filler episodes serve purpose for building character and plot, and I think that is an example of letting it cook. You have to have time with characters to form bonds with them. If you didn't have a whole episode of like the Tales of Ba Sing Se, for example, or
Oh my
like the
God.
one where like they didn't have to cook that hard. They
They didn't. They
But
didn't.
they
really
did,
They weren't
you
getting
know?
paid that much.
No.
And that's just the thing, right? I can say with confidence, Avatar: The Last Airbender, one of my favorite shows of all time. Of all time.
Mm.
And if it wasn't for all those stupid filler episodes, I don't think that'd be true.
Like
If I didn't get those...
characters feel like family to me
Yes!
because of those episodes.
Not just real human beings, not just complex real human beings, but complex real human beings that I love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't create that in a season. You can't create that in 2 seasons. You honestly can't create that in 3, and yet somehow they did, and that tells you how good the show was. And it's just a case of, without Cactus Juice, without Sokka having tiny little interactions with people, and him going from this, like, kind of arrogant kind of kid who wants to be a man to this man, without Toph having her little comedic little things that, like, eventually you start to understand is her way of expressing love for her friends, without Katara having her whole motherly thing going because of her various
like
traumas and such.
Katara's my favorite character from the show, and that's a big
What would
aspect of
What would
why
the
I
show
love
be
her
Without
character.
all those things, what would that show be? What
Nothing.
would it be? And I'm not even touching.
I'm not saying it will be
Aang,
bad, but
the main
it's
character.
you see, this is I've told you this before.
You don't really.
It's not that I
feel
don't like Aang. It's just every other
Yeah, of
character has so much going on that they all
And
cook.
Aang is
You
kind
know,
of like your average main.
I know he's meant to be the main character, but damn. Which just shows how, like, Game of Thrones is like that for me. Every character, Podrick shines, you know?
Pod.
What did he do to those girls?
What did he do to those women?
Like, there's an episode in Breaking Bad where
Walter and Jesse. You're aware of who Walter and Jesse are, right? You've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
enough
yeah. I
about
know the
yeah.
basics. I know the basics.
They're trapped, not trapped, but they go off into the desert to cook meth in an RV, and
Hmm.
they run out of gas, and they're pretty much just trapped there the entire episode. Or there's another episode which is really highly rated. It's one of the highest rated episodes of TV ever, called The Fly, where it's pretty much just Walter and Jesse talking for an hour, and
Damn.
Walter's just he's
No
going a bit
spoilers, by the way.
crazy.
I also want to watch the show.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
sure,
damn.
sure, buddy. Uh,
I'm gonna. It's on the list. A
oh,
very
damn.
long list that I'm very slowly
Um,
going through.
but it is okay. One of my favorite episode of Euphoria is
I
just
don't bother watching that one. Don't worry.
it's Zendaya's character Rue talking to her mentor guy Ali, um, in a diner on Christmas Eve, and it's literally an hour, and it's just that, and it is fantastic. That's some good TV.
Community, love that show to bits. There's an episode where it's someone's birthday and they go to one of the people's apartments, and the entire episode is six different realities where they roll a dice, and Abed, who's like the autistic character,
Yeah.
and that's the best way to describe him, by the way. He goes, I wonder what happens in the other universes where we roll the other dice. And then the rest of the episode is them going through each and every single one of those universes.
Right.
Comedy gold, number one. Number two, the most down.
Comedy shows
like,
are so hard to do as well.
It all happens in a single room.
Fantastic.
And it's 10 minutes for each place, and it's one of my favorite episodes of this 6-season-long show. Time is so important.
If you
Time
don't
to
let
things
shows
grow.
cook, then
What are you
no
doing?
one's gonna love it.
The way you make franchises is by giving something a chance. And if you disregard a show because it's not making as much as you wanted it to, not even how much you need it to like make a profit, but how much you expected it to, what the fuck are you doing with your life? It's like making a bet on something, and then halfway through whatever race is going on, you go, nah, never mind, and you go home.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's not just stupid. I don't think it's a smart business choice.
But
it's
also,
a smart business choice in the short run.
those episodes allow for so much more creativity, you know? So why would you limit that? It just doesn't make any sense. I love a show when you can have that option.
And
Or it could just be two people talking and it's just written beautifully, you know? Like,
yeah.
why would you
Disregard
stop that? Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not like we're smart or intelligent. This is basic fucking narrative understanding.
We are we're viewers. Like we never make anything. But we know what we like to see, you know. So I don't know why modern television is kind of sucking right now, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I know why. It's money. The answer's
Yeah.
money. So is fucking money.
Dude, my lightsaber's disappeared.
Fucking hell. They got me. They jumped me.
There you go.
GG's though. But yeah, it's just upsetting. The writer's strike wasn't too long ago. In that writer's strike,
really
writers
ruined
big
everything.
and small decided to not write because companies refuse to pay them. It's
And,
like
like,
you have these writers who
It's
make
fair.
basically yeah. You have
If
these
you're
writers who
making
basically make
billions of dollars for this company and they
multi-million-pound franchises,
You might
and
wanna
you're not
pay
getting
'em.
paid enough. No, because it's disgusting when you think about the writers, the people who have to co-write, the people who have to like look after scripts, this, who do it for shows that are huge, immense, right? Who make the CEOs, who make the directors millions, right? They are just normal, everyday workers. They're writers, sure, they have a degree, but they're everyday workers. And these writers would not be getting paid like barely minimum wage. And you have to stop and think, right? A show makes baseline £1 million, right? And even one of the people working on it doesn't get paid enough to make ends meet. What the fuck has gone on here? What has gone wrong? Because that math is not mathing
it's not mathing,
in any
man.
way or form. And it's disgusting. And like, here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, I could see the same
Bruh,
about
he just killed
doctors.
himself. Do you see that?
I didn't, but he finished some stuff off. Delightful. He was like, I'm sick and tired of this.
That's Grandpa.
I could mention doctors. I could mention junior doctors. I could mention so many important jobs that don't get the financing they really do need. And it's because we live in a greedy, fucked up world. I get that 100%. But even if we live in a greedy, fucked up world, shows make money. If you
They
don't
do.
take care of them, they'll stop making you money. So what's going on? Who's doing the maths here?
Doesn't make
It's so
any sense.
stupid.
Freaks and Geeks is another show which got cancelled. Did you ever watch that one? It's like a 90s show. So you know, like James Franco, Seth Rogen,
Yeah,
their whole
of
friendship
course.
group. This is
Right?
how they met, like in real life. They all met on this show, and you see at the time, you know, like it's kind of like one of your John Hugh movies. It's about like uh, it's a really emotional show, you know, like
Okay.
it's about children finding who they want to be, you know, and just not
Alright. Okay.
why do you want to be the person you are, you know.
Yeah.
It's very,
You're right.
very much like that, and this made friendships which like changed the course of cinema in many aspects, you know,
Yeah.
because that
100%.
Seth Rogen, James Franco like movies that they would go on to make. Oh, Linda
Very true.
Cardellini, the woman, she's Wendy from
The
Gravity
woman.
Falls and Velma.
Oh hell! No
Yes, but
way.
young, she was quite cute, so
Okay.
definitely
Cool.
check it out. Um,
Right.
but yeah, it's a
I
show that
mean,
got cancelled, and it's like it was so creative and it was written so well. And it got cancelled for Beverly Hills 90210, I think, which kind of just
oh
turned out to be a nothing
Lord.
show in the end. Similar themes,
Oh
but like,
Lord.
yeah. Don't get me wrong, I've watched a lot of Beverly Hills, but uh,
does it match? Does it
no,
match
no, 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 no.
quality? I don't think so.
I think that
It
it's good for
just
what it was, but it's a different show.
definitely nowhere near. It goes to show at the end of the day, right? You have these shows, and you have these directors, you have these financial advisors, you have these CEOs, you have these people who are making the profit, and it's like, I would love to sit here and be like, I wish they cared more about the soul of TV shows and movies. I know that's not gonna happen. I am a child. I understand that's unreasonable, 100%. But if they stop caring about it completely,
Wait, should
if
we
they
do
disregard,
Supremacy?
gone. Oh wait, come, let's go. If they disregard the meaning behind these shows, movies, they'll shoot themselves in the foot, and they have shot themselves in the foot.
Marvel's kind of.
It's like,
I don't think that Marvel's dipped in quality. Like that is, I will stand. I stand on
on
business
the
to be
hill.
fair. I don't
Yeah,
think that
it's,
Marvel has gone downhill. Post
it's like the white.
Endgame,
It's gone.
still good. Post Endgame, still good stuff. People just need to
Yeah,
chill, but they are room for improvement.
definitely a hot take. I'm sorry to say, but
No, I'm
I
not
mean,
saying everything is right, but there's room
yeah,
for improvement, you know. Considering how
100%.
big it was, of course a company would make more content.
Yeah. The
But
the thing
sometimes more
is,
isn't always what's best.
I know you didn't quite enjoy it, but Moon Knight was a big favorite of mine, right?
Right.
I was obsessed.
You
I
see, and
love
that's
the
another
music.
example of like me, Leon, you, we'd sit down and we'd watch the show together. Like, it's streaming still can have the same
Have that
effect of
same energy.
TV. Yeah, it can.
100%. 110%.
Why do you
Which
like
is
Moon
why
Knight?
I would never disregard it. Why did I like Moon Knight?
Yeah, yeah.
The music, the acting from Oscar Isaac, the love of my life. The acting from basically everyone in that show, actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do be watching Marvel movies and I'm like, maybe I'd enjoy this when I was 12. Maybe I enjoyed this when I was like 14, but honestly,
Mm,
I can't hack it. Moon Knight didn't have a single bloody moment like that.
right.
And like, for reference, this show didn't have a proper fight scene until the end, and even the end of the first episode, sorry. And even then, it was like hidden by by a corner, and that was the end of
Yeah.
the episode. And I'm sure people will have opinions about that. I fucking loved that first episode. I
Mm.
was, since the beginning of that show, I was sat the fudge down, right?
For reference
And it's like,
viewers, this brother was locked in. He was locked in.
and no, what it tells you is that it goes to show amazing pieces of content, amazing movies, amazing shows, they can still be made with amazing actors and an amazing creative staff. With, budgets that range in the millions, sure,
But
but
yeah, that's another thing about these Marvel shows or streaming in
the
general
budget.
has the budget is so vast, which means we could only have 6 episodes, which is not enough time a day for.
Nowhere near enough.
Now,
I would
don't get me
rather.
wrong,
Go
it
on.
could work for One Division. It could work for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it could work
Yeah,
for Loki. But do you know why? It's because we already know these characters.
that's true.
We've been watching them for the
There's the
past 10
foundation. Not
plus
just watching them.
years.
We've read comics. We've
Exactly. We've
watched other
absorbed
things,
so much
listened to them.
media we could fill in the
Yeah,
blanks. But not many people, I would say, know who Moon Knight is.
100%.
So
No, I
if you're
barely
gonna
knew who
only
he
give
was.
us 6 episodes for us to fall in love with the character and have like a whole experience,
What are you doing?
it's not enough time. And I just
Yeah,
know that like I know how expensive these are, but Disney are not short on money. The Disney company have enough money to make a good show.
I don't know, Nathan. Maybe they need to watch out. Like, you
Like I
never
know
know when
that
the company might become
Netflix,
bankrupt.
I know that Netflix Marvel is pretty much all just like hallways and corridors, and just like dark alleys. But it works. It works for the context. But they just need to invest. If they just invested more, then like.
And it's not like they're not investing, but I feel like they're
Especially when Mark
diversifying.
has 3 different personalities, Hadefa.
That's 3 different shows right there.
Exactly. It's so
And I
hard to like do in six
it is. I
episodes.
mean, oh my lord, Oscar Isaac, amazing bloody uh, I you've watched
I
Dune.
have to
I don't
admit, yeah,
know.
I love Oscar Isaac. I think he's great.
I love that man. I think he's also just outside of acting as well. He seems great. I feel like I'd be best friends with this guy.
He's a cool guy, you know.
He has in my mind he has the same vibe as Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, I was just
They're
about to
like
say, yeah.
yeah, they're in the same little acting bubble. Anyway, I digress. I think big corporations diversify in the sense of they have these creative advisors who are going, no, we need to make a show that's been given the time and money it deserves. And not only that, we need to find a show that's worthy of that time and money. I just think that they do that, work on that show for 7 years, and whilst they're
Yes.
working on that show for 7 years, they diversify into a bunch of ass pieces of trash that nobody asked for because they need to make money on it. And they do. They do. You make a Star Wars show, I guarantee you're going to be making a profit of it unless you make some really stupid decisions.
The
You make
Acolyte.
a
We're,
Marvel
we're
show
looking at
movie?
you.
Yeah. Unless you
Dude,
look at
no
a
one is
Marvel
playing
movie,
this game. Do you want to go on co-op? We'll get a match on co-op.
apparently, yeah. Okay, come.
Let's warm up on co-op, yeah.
Mm,
Sorry, viewers.
Where are your viewers, man? They need to start joining this game.
Please play with us.
Please. What was I saying? They need to stop diversifying so they can make more money, and they need to start concentrating on quality stuff. Is that the best business decision? Probably not, now that I think about it. But it would make me happy, so it's what they should do. 100%.
See, people. I'm gonna take a shot, Hadefa, because I'm gonna talk
Go on.
about The Last of Us,
Ooh.
which is my favorite. Oh man, our last viewer just dipped. The Last of Us, hell nah.
Checks out.
um,
Checks out.
The Last of Us is. I think that the biggest reason why I don't love the show is because it's too short.
Oh. Too short in the sense of they didn't go you wanted
It's
more of it, or it was too condensed?
too condensed. Okay,
Yeah.
Hadafa, the biggest asset which The Last of Us Part 1 has is that it's this media. It's a game that you play. When you open up the game, you play as Sarah, you know? You try to survive.
Right.
You get shot to death. You play as Joel. You experience Joel. You
You get shot to
you
death,
if when you're
but you
playing, yeah.
survive.
Like you play as Joel who falls in love with Ellie, you know?
Yeah.
And you know how many hours The Last of Us is as a game?
40?
Let me put it up.
I'm thinking 37 to 40-ish.
Bearing in mind, I am someone who likes to look at everything. It's like 20 plus hours. You cannot
20
condense such a beautiful game um,
into a single show.
into a 9 episode show, Hadafa. Not to
Yeah.
mention that every single episode, Joel Miller just wasn't the main character. He just wasn't it. So it's
Which
just
is
oh.
which is wrong. Which is wrong. You want to know why it's wrong? It's not even a case of. I feel like it's not like we're going
Sorry.
boo. We want more Joel. I mean, maybe you're going boo. We want more Joel.
Well, no, but I know you do need more Joel. You know why? It's
but
because
you need.
narratively you need to have more Joel, so you can understand the weight of the decision that he makes at the end.
At the end,
Because you know he's wrong, but you fall in love with Ellie, and that's a daughter figure, and then
And
it's just beautiful. It's the best game ever made.
It's a
And
simple
how
question,
could they
though.
butcher it so much? Because I genuinely don't think that this version of Joel would sacrifice the world for this version of Ellie.
And not even a case of bad acting, not a case of not believing that they're obsessed with each other.
No, and
it's just time.
that's the
It's
thing.
time.
If I saw more, then maybe I would believe that. And this is why I don't feel like I think that The Last of Us Part 2 season 2 is already fucked. Because it's already based on bad foundations.
I mean, you say bad foundations. I don't think it was a bad show entirely, was
I
it?
don't think it's no. I think it's a bad adaptation.
See, bad adaptation and bad show are two different things. And it's like something I'm always going to have to like sit down and like say to myself when it comes to these like live actions.
Okay, what's the best? What do you think is a good adaptation then?
It doesn't exist. I'm sorry. Okay. On a serious note, I don't know.
And do you count like comic book movies as adaptations? Because I don't think that.
I mean,
well, I
okay,
think it's
wait,
different.
Wait, so do I count what?
Like comic book movies as being adaptations of characters.
Comedy movies? Wait, what was
comic book movies.
Oh, I mean, it's pretty close to the topic I was just going to go into. Books. Do you consider movies that are based off books adaptations?
Yeah, no, that counts.
Okay, then I have a lot of opinions.
Okay.
Percy Jackson is the nice and easy one I can talk about. I watched Percy Jackson the movie first, I believe. I love Percy Jackson the movie.
The Lightning
Thief.
Thief.
I read the book series. I rewatched the movie. I wanted to jump off a roof.
Right.
The books.
Oh, wait, do you think that Harry Potter is a good adaptation as well, by the way? I don't think I've ever asked you that question.
A good adaptation or a good thing on its own is two different questions. Understanding that, I would say it kind of fucked up a little bit when it came to the adaptation.
Right.
But then again, it did get the magic, didn't it?
It evokes so much wonder and awe inside of me.
Yeah.
But I did watch it when I was a child.
Exactly, that's the thing. I'm biased.
So, like, I cannot have an unbiased opinion. Like, I cannot tell you.
When it comes
maybe
to
in my next rewatch, I'll try and
give an objective
review.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. So I read the entire series, and then I read the series that after that series, and I read books that are adjacent in the same world. I was a man obsessed. I watched the movie again after my book readings. I didn't like the movie because you have these characters, right, that are complex, that are interesting, that are flawed, Nathan. These flawed characters that make me feel as though I'm in the presence of real people, of real complex, interesting people, right? they got flattened into a pancake
Nah,
and
just
shoved
put him in
into a
a
dish.
casino.
They chucked them in a casino, and the casino scene in the book is so much better, by the way.
Yeah.
Just for reference, so much better. And it takes away from not just the characters, but the story. It's disrespectful. It's like having an Avatar movie where the entirety of the Avatar movie is Aang waking up from the ice, going to the water tribe, learning waterbending on the first episode. Next episode he goes to the Earth Kingdom. He learns earthbending in the second episode. In the third episode he goes to the Fire Kingdom. He learns fire in the that episode, and in the next episode he takes away Ozai's bending. That is the equivalent of the Percy Jackson movie to the books. And like, maybe if I'd never watched Avatar: The Last Airbender show, they could turn something like that into something really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'd probably watch it. I think bending's really cool. And if it was a show concentrating on bending, I'd be like, cool as shit.
Yeah.
It's not. Avatar: Last Airbender is a piece of art. Trying to move that into this shitty kind of 2-bit, one-dimensional show format, it made me want to kill myself. And that's exactly what
the live action. I never finished that,
didn't really watch
did you?
the live action.
Yeah.
But
I am
me...
someone who doesn't have nostalgia for the Avatar: The Last Airbender. For reference, viewers, I only watched it this year. I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra this year, and I do not think that the Netflix show is not a bad attempt, but it's not it. It's not him. You're not him, you know?
You're not him.
Damn. We're doing really bad.
We're getting cooked. Rip, they got me. There's Captain Phasma as well. Alright, let me turn into a Jedi real quick.
There's only one.
There's only one left?
No, there's only one.
Oh, there's only... and it's Rey.
Yeah, okay.
Does she have a push
after
pull
this,
ability?
no.
Amazing. Just what I like to hear.
Yeah, after this, leave, and then we'll just start a Republic. You died immediately.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
We're on the last one now, so.
Oh, I left already. My bad.
Yeah, let me die. Quick.
Yeah, Percy Jackson, the characters in the books, they make me so happy. You have this character, this anxious little teen boy in the first book, and in the last book, you have a man who has fought the God of War and won. You have a man who has saved the lives of so many. He has been immortal. He has used poison to torture people. He has literally held the planet up and not died. He has fought titans. He has seen monsters rip people apart. He's been betrayed by his closest friends. You have a piece of writing that genuinely I don't think I'll ever be able to experience in the same way ever again. The movie is kind of okay. And it's like, what am I meant to do with that information? Like, what do I do when I have this art piece and I have this other thing that's a movie?
This other thing.
You want me to sit down and compare those two things? I can't. If you had me, I mean, Percy Jackson is a great example because I watched the movie before I read the books. If you had me talk about Percy Jackson before the books, I'd be like, it's a great movie, and I can still say that now, mostly because of nostalgia.
I
It's enjoyable.
I enjoy the movie. It's not a bad movie.
It's enjoyable. It's fun. It's interesting.
In terms of a kids movie as well, like I liked it as a kid, and I think I'd like it as an adult as well.
Definitely, 100%. If someone was like, let's watch Percy Jackson, I'd be like, hell yeah. Funnily enough, reading the first 2 Percy Jackson books, I would say you're going to have a little bit of an open-minded for like teen books.
Yeah.
Everything after the second book is a lot more young adult. But I remember rereading actually, funnily enough, the Percy Jackson books and going like, damn, he really is like a child in the first couple of books. And the movie isn't like that at all. But what do you want me to do when you give me live actions of a thing I never asked for, And not only do you not pay it heed, not only do you not pay it respect. For reference, the writer of Percy Jackson didn't like the live action. He was like, "This is bad." You also try to say so much in such little time, and it isn't even your fault. It's because there is no other choice.
Time is just such a gift. It can be a gift.
Time 100. Also, time can
Because
murder a
there's,
show
yeah,
as
like
well.
for example, I bring up The Walking Dead again. I think time killed The
Walking
Walking
Dead.
Dead. Because
Yeah.
there's just, well, you know what? I don't think it's time. I think it's filler. Filler is where it's bad.
Right. Filler murdered Walking Dead.
Yeah. Because when you have shows which just refuse to get to the point, Luke Cage is an example of that.
Right. I never watched it, but go on.
Uh, Luke Cage, who has incredible superhuman strength and bulletproof skin, goes into the
Right.
club where all of the the crime is taking place, and there is nothing on earth which could stop him. He just goes
Yeah.
in there and he just tells them stop selling drugs, and then he leaves for no reason, and then he like, and then the only reason why he's done that is because there's just more episodes left. Filler is
Okay.
where is what's killing, what can kill TV. It's just
100. So we
because
talk
there's
about
more runtime.
yeah.
Because there is
We
no
talk about
reason how he can just stop them right there.
because he could have just spent 5 minutes fixing this entire show, but he didn't.
It's like Man of
Um.
Steel, not Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman. The
Yeah.
first
Basis of
confrontation, there is
could have been the
nothing
end.
that
Yeah.
Batman could possibly do to stop Superman in their
Do you
first meeting.
bleed?
Why would you
No, I
threaten
don't
him?
bleed. You will. What the fuck? I'm gonna kill
Superman could
you.
have picked him up and flew him to every single police station on the planet if he wanted to.
He
And there
could have
is
flown him
nothing
into
that
the
Batman
sun.
could have done. He could have flown him into the sun. There is nothing he could have done, Hadafa,
Oh wait, that's
until
really beautiful
someone arrested
actually.
him. There is an
So
man,
someone.
and he thought the best idea was to threaten him.
Oh,
And he
oh.
knows he's a threat. He's been studying him. He's getting the
Do
kryptonite to
you
stop
bleed?
him. What was Batman's plan? What if Batman's
We may
plan
never know.
if Superman showed 1% of his power?
Yeah, the thing is,
It's because there
Batman
was more
thought.
runtime.
The thing is, Batman thought Superman. He thought of him badly in that period of time. So
So
he
don't
didn't know
threaten
he
him.
was. He didn't know he was this not just overpowered, but like humanitarian superhero. He didn't know that like at his heart he's this Texas kid. Is it Texas, Kansas? Kansas kid
Kansas, yeah.
who believes in humanity, who believes in being good and doing the right thing or not abusing his powers. So all Batman really knows about Superman is
Is
that
that he
Superman can
destroyed
snap him like a twig.
Metropolis. He's
Yeah,
only ever
is
seen
that
him destroy a city
destroy
on a
an
random
entire
Wednesday
city.
afternoon.
And the second he gets a little bit irritated, he starts to threaten this man. For all he knows is a sociopath with the power to destroy all of Gotham.
And he
But
can, this Superman has murdered. He's seen him do it. So why would you threaten him? Also,
it doesn't
both
make any
of them
sense.
are trying to stop each other because of the murders. Because Superman is trying to stop Batman because he's killing people, and Batman is trying to stop Superman because of the murders. So
Because he's
it
killing
just,
people. Yeah.
and the only
Isn't it
reason why
beautiful?
that just nothing happened is because there's more runtime left on the movie.
Yeah. So we've talked about filler in Avatar: The Last Airbender. We've talked about filler in
You
The Last of
there's
Us.
good and there's bad filler.
Exactly. I've talked about filler in Percy Jackson, right? Filler only really functions well if the filler's good, serves a purpose, and the actual
Or
show is
character
good.
building. Yeah,
I mean, that's a purpose.
yeah.
If the filler's good but the show's shit, the show's gonna be shit. Like that
Well,
was
how
a
do you
mixed
feel
show.
about bottle episodes as well?
Boston episodes, go on. What does that mean?
That's mainly, so you spoke about one earlier, mainly in one location, only on like a
Oh,
handful of the cast. So,
either amazing or absolutely ass.
right, yes, there's no in between, is there?
No in between. Yeah.
So,
The Walking Dead, we are one episode away from. I think we're like 3 episodes
bottle
away
episode.
from a bottle episode, which is the best example of that. Rick, Michonne, and Carl go to find some weapons, and it's
R.I.P.
one of
T-Bone.
the best. Um, it is one of the best episodes that season 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas, like, I guess a bottle episode is the 11 one in season 2 of Stranger Things, where she meets the X-Men.
Pause. I'm not up to that part yet, and
Oh,
don't never
well,
spoil me like that again.
no.
Piece of
Well,
shit.
nothing ever happened because it did that badly. But that was a very
Oh, okay.
clear attempt of like,
A
oh, if
bottle
this goes
episode.
well, then like we can
Ooh.
introduce these characters, you know?
Now that I think about it, bowl episodes can be some of the most upsettingly bad things in the universe. Cause, okay, you're either in a situation where you're in one place and you're loving it, right? You are like, this is great. Or, as a viewer, you feel like you're trapped in the room
And you
and
cannot
you can't
leave.
escape.
Yeah,
You're like, I want this to end, and you look at the time and there's 40 minutes left and you cry. And the thing is, it's the worst when it's in a show you actually enjoy. Because all it's going to do is make you
right.
hate whoever the fuck is in that room. Um,
Like, you know
it
what?
is like,
You are a different person to the man they were when you started, when they walked in.
100%.
Yeah, I pulled up
So,
a list here of just some you might know. Okay, do you know the episode of Friends, the one where no one's ready? It's
I do not, very sadly.
they only stay in Monica's apartment, and Ross has a thing like a event, and no one's ready, and people go
Okay.
leave and they come back, and like Rachel um that threatens to not go. It's a whole thing, and that's a very good example of a bottom episode. It's just as entertaining as a full
Okay.
episode. There's a Brian
I
and
am gonna
Stewie
say.
one
Oh wait, is it the one where they get like a
in the
time
vault.
travel thingy? Oh, never
No,
mind, it's over.
no, it's the one in the vault. They're stuck in the safety deposit box room. The
Is it
whole
good?
episode. It's so good. It's so
Oh, we need
funny.
to watch that. We need to watch that. We
Yeah,
need to watch
yeah.
that. I will say, for Friends, kind of a cheat. 90% of the episodes happen in 2 rooms.
That is true. Yeah.
No more than 2 rooms. But go on. Next.
The Fly is one. I spoke about that. That Breaking Bad one. Let me
Okay.
have a look. It's a few Doctor Who ones, but I've never seen Doctor Who.
Ooh, tell me the names. I'll tell you if they're good or not.
Midnight, really well done. I personally liked the one from Mad About You conversation too. I don't know what that means.
Me neither.
Midnight,
I'm sure
Doctor Who.
Leon would know right away.
Leon is like
Uh,
rolling around right now.
he's screaming
Yeah.
at me through Okay, next.
I don't know a lot of these. But
I mean, throw
yeah.
a couple out even if you don't know them.
Uh, but I don't think that you've seen these shows.
Hit me,
Pines
hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me.
Barnes, from The Sopranos,
Nope.
the Chinese restaurant from Seinfeld, the suitcase as one. I don't know where that's from. Ice.
From
I don't know. I think it's just called Ice. Yeah, it's a bad
Nice.
list. But anyway, yeah, they can be good or bad.
I was gonna say, I feel like we're just uncultured, TBH.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Oh.
am I winning?
I died next to you. How did they miss you? They missed you and
They
hit
got
me.
They got me. Oh, was that the blast from one of the clones? What the fuck?
Yeah. That was one of the ARC troopers.
Clone blast! Yeah, very good. You know what, bro? We should just make a show at this point. What the hell? No, sorry, did I say we should make a show? We should make an organization that makes shows. Because at this point, we would do better as people who do their best to explain how shows should be done, than anything else.
Yeah, honestly, it's just embarrassing at the moment.
It is. And the thing is, right? So, recently, and I know you're gonna make fun of me and be angry at me, but TV shows really haven't been my thing recently. Um,
Yeah.
and I will say, it's not, I'm not gonna say this is the reason why, everything I was talked about, but you wanna know a medium that is currently not having that problem, and arguably is having the opposite problem, where there is just so much great creative ideas being thrown around? Books.
Animation. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
animation is sadly, very sadly, is in the same boat as TV shows.
Right.
But I can talk about that too. But books, especially now that I read amateur books as well, right? There's this
Yeah.
website that I love called Royal Road, and it has a great collection of just like
Mm,
the kind of stuff great writers write before they write their masterpiece. You know what I mean?
right.
The kind of masterpieces rather that aren't made right away and take time to make. Sometimes a writer needs a little bit of enthusiasm. Sometimes maybe he even wants to start a Patreon and get some money off some big fans, right? You can do all those things and more using Royal Road, where you can basically not publish but upload your books, and you have everything from complete ass, the worst shit you will ever see in your entire life, to some of the best books I've read in my entire life, sitting down right next to each other. And
Right.
it is like an open field of roses. Cause like, no matter what I feel like in the moment, zombie book or apocalypse book, low fantasy, high fantasy, magic systems that are interesting, complex sci-fis, emotional time travel, anything and everything I can imagine, there is probably a book out there that is half decent that I can read. And it makes my life so bloody easy, right? Because I don't have to wait on the show that seems kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't need to wait on this movie that might be good and I'm going to watch in cinemas in 3 months' time.
And pay money
When
to
I
go
can
and
exactly
to
pay
see
money
it.
to go
Yeah.
watch this movie, which movie might be ass anyways. Let me just get this.
Or just
Okay,
bad. Like it's worse. Not bad. I'd say it's just mid. Mid is worse than ass.
yeah. Um, and it's just a case of why would I, when I have those versions of books out there? And the answer is quite simple, and it's that I do love shows. I love the medium. I love the music. I love the cinematography. I'm obsessed with it. I can very easily say that I'm someone who likes books as much as I like movies and shows, which is a hot take, I know. But the fact that I can love both to a huge extent means that the only thing that's really separating those two things is the production of those, is the accessibility. And very
Yeah.
sadly, books are a lot more accessible. 1,000 times more
Like
accessible.
I think that shows for me are the better medium. Only because I'm
Right.
very much someone who needs to. I think the music and the cinematography and everything is just as important as the narrative being told. Like I don't think that Euphoria is a good show. Not a good show. I don't think it's a great show. But I
Okay.
think that there is so many great things about it, and that's where it shines.
Okay. I feel that. Yeah. I mean that's one of the best things about like these things, right? At the end of the
I
day,
wouldn't
you're
read
not
it,
watching
but
it.
it's eye candy. Oh, it looks so good.
Right. Yeah, at the end of the day, we can wax poetic about enjoying narrative design and thematics, but the reason why we're watching these things is to enjoy ourselves, to enjoy those things, right?
Yeah.
Um, if a show has ass, like, let's say cinematography, right?
Let's take
Or like,
Kenobi as an example of that.
right, I mean, go on.
Oh no, I just say that it has ass cinematography. It looks like shit.
Okay. But the narrative and the characterization and just enjoyable little moments that make you laugh or make you go, this is fun, right? If they exist and make you feel those things, make you go, this is fun, then it's irrelevant. Like, it is still very, very much relevant. But you enjoying that show isn't going to change because the cinematography could have been better. You know what I mean? You're not going to sit down and be like, I watched the show, I hated it. Not for any meaningful reason aside from the cinematography, but solely because the cinematography wasn't what I expected it to. No one's going to do that because no one's so much of a picky piece of shit. If you enjoy a show for 99% of what it is, and that 1% was done really badly, you've enjoyed the show. Good on you. And I feel like that's really important, because I feel like there are some critics who will hate a show. When I say hate a show, I mean like they will go on rants, right?
Yeah.
Because they fucked up in one section. And you will have an entire other side of a fandom raving about how amazing this show is, just because the other half is able to suspend their disbelief. They're able to set aside their grievances so they can see the rest of the damn thing.
Yes, an example of that for me is those stupid fucking robots in The Legend of Korra Season 4.
Right.
You know? Those weird, like... It feels like it's a different show. You know? Like, they look god-awful. But, I mean, it didn't hate me. Like, it didn't stop me from hating the show or whatever.
100%. And I feel that. I fuck with that. Someone who would sit down and be like, the show that I've watched for how many seasons I now no longer like because of a single arc is someone who never really liked that show to begin with, or needs serious fucking help, because what the hell are you doing with your life? Lol, Yoda got me.
Yeah, he just got me too.
Okay, yeah, and it's all a case of perspective at the end.
But then also, if this is like a multi-million-dollar company,
Right?
is there an excuse, you know?
Not really, no.
The thing
Here's
is,
the
a lot
thing.
of those people don't get paid nearly enough, and they work so many hours just to, like, us to rant about it on Twitter, you know? But then
Obi-Wan
that's to
Kenobi
the downfall of the actual company itself, you know?
Right. Right.
If they just paid their staff, then like you wouldn't have this
They'd be doing
problem.
better.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
So this is more, like I said, this is studio interference once again. Ah,
Oh.
this.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I've been I've been dancing around the topic because I don't want to rant.
No, rant
But
away.
one of my honestly, it's a special interest. Animation, I will die on the hill. I will die on that hill of animation being the best thing ever. It is amazing. And also specific animations. I could list them. I'm not gonna, but I could list them. Beautiful, amazing, sensational.
Well, I've told you
Very
that the Clone
sadly,
Wars season 7 is the best Star Wars for me,
yeah, favorite piece of Star Wars. Exactly, that's a great.
and that's just anime. And also, it's the example of a children's show doesn't have to be defined by that.
100%. Thank you. You have grasped my point by the fucking horns. Very sadly, currently animation. I mean, I would say it's definitely in the last 10 years or so. It's definitely
Yes.
changed and developed, and it's become a lot less seen in a single perspective. But even now, animation is synonymous with kids, and that makes me fucking depressed. Especially when kids animations people call kid animations, right? Adventure Time, Gravity
Yeah.
Falls, regular show, Star Wars: The Roses of Evil, Chowder, various Clarence, which genuinely is a children's show, but is also fucking hilarious. Various things that are made for teens, for children even, right? Are some of the best pieces of animation I've ever seen. They're emotional, they're complex, they're interesting, they're heartbreaking, they're funny. Amazing World of Gumball is a cartoon show that they played on Cartoon Network for a long period of time. Probably one of their best shows, best running shows. Or rather, their best modern running shows, right? It's definitely more positioned towards young adult audience. But when I tell you it's some of the most funniest stuff I've ever seen, ever, there's no hyperbole there. There are some episodes that make me crease, right? And it's just this perception of animation being for kids that is slowly killing it from the fucking inside. Because, I'm sorry to say, places like Cartoon Network are dying. Are already dead. Because streaming exists. Streaming exists, which means sites specifically for kids animations or animation in general have been deaded off. Once upon a time, Adult Swim, which was the creator of many amazing shows, Rick and Morty being one of their most famous shows, it existed once upon a time as an actual platform show, right? It would be on Cartoon Network and it would be played after hours. So the kids would go to bed and then they'd play Adult Swim, and you'd have shows like Rick and Morty being played, and they were all animated, just like in Cartoon Network, but these are specifically for older adults. Young adults, and also just normal adults. Samurai Jack, and lots of lots of shows that arguably could be kid shows, but because they contain particular topics and particular images and the such, can't be shown as kid shows. They'd be thrown onto here. No longer exists as a TV show anymore. It's just like a streaming platform in America. Not just streaming platform, sorry. It's a company that makes cartoons in America, and they still make some of the most amazing things ever. But the platform they had before is gone. It's vanished. And half of the reason why that happened is because of streaming. The other half of the reason, is because animation isn't as popular as TV shows that aren't animation and movies. And it makes me so vexed, because animation is so much, like, in my opinion, better. It's more flexible, it's more interesting, it can be done better. Like, we talk about how all these live action adaptations, they can't get this, right? If you switched half those fucking live actions into animation, all of a sudden, all those issues would become non-issues. They do have the time to make that. They do have the budget to make those extra episodes. They do have this, because it's affordable, it's reasonable when it's animation. Why is it not done? Stigma. Stigma is the only
I was on mute
reason
the whole
why
time.
animation is Oh, sorry, you've been speaking?
I was just responding to what you were saying. But yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, keep going.
And if it wasn't for that stigma, ayo, pause, we would have so much more animation. We wouldn't just have more animation, we'd have better animation.
The thing is, like,
force.
a big part of, like, I consider games to be animated, whatever.
100%. Okay, I feel that.
Things are so purposeful and meaningful to the point where it can't be captured in any other way for me. Like, The Last of Us Part 2 has some of the most beautiful shots that I think about in cinema, you know? And there's no way that that could be captured any other way, in my opinion. Right. I mean, we're still waiting for Part 2 to come out, but and maybe it will blow me away or whatever, but I don't see how it can when there's some of the most beautiful things I have seen in my life.
In the game.
In that game, you know?
Yeah.
Think about, Across and Into the Spider-Verse, every single frame of that movie is art. It's literally art. And I don't know why you would want to... why would you change it?
Why would you ever want to have a different medium? GG's.
So why put it in... why?
Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse, one of the most beautiful examples of why I think stigma is the biggest reason why animation is
Stigma.
used. For reference, some of my favorite movies of the last 10, 20 years, right?
Yeah.
I have spoken to people who said they haven't watched the movie because it's animated. Why?
Well, it didn't make any money when it came out, like, because it was an animated movie. Yeah. But also, something I was saying when I was on mute is
Go on.
You were talking about Adult Swim. An example of that is the new animated Spider-Man series from 2003 was an animated Spider-Man show based towards older kids, and it had deaths, and it had the show ends on an actual death, you know.
Right.
and he quits being Spider-Man. He takes a break because he can't do it anymore. You see, there's
Yeah.
so much that you can do. There's so many storylines that you can say.
And the thing is, it's like you have all these mediums, and you look at how expensive they are. You look at animation being used for like Bluey, right? Bluey's
Yeah,
blown up, and people love it. Adults love this show, right? And it's like you have a good narrative, you have good characters, you have good voice acting, you have good animation. You can create something as amazing, sorry, as amazing as any live action.
yeah,
Why doesn't it happen, Nathan? Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, great examples of animated movies done so bloody well that
yeah.
no one can argue they aren't pieces of art. Why aren't there more of them?
The
Where are they?
Batman animated series is my
The
definitive
Batman.
version of Batman. Like,
Also, we blessedly come from a mindset where we love comic stuff before they became popular,
yeah,
which meant back when we were kids and they made comic cartoon shows, we were present. We were watching every single episode. Maybe
I do like that.
90.
This was viewers. This
Gone?
was our lives. Like
Yeah,
this is a part of who I am. Like as a human
100%.
being, as a part of my character. So we have been blessed enough to see
To
these
have
characters
the
on the page first, and then see Spider-Man and Batman in the
Yeah,
screen.
and it does give us this benefit of being able to appreciate that medium in ways I think some other people won't be able to.
Yeah,
Like, I know people who I really like, who I can have really good conversations with about creative, like, mediums and shows and movies that we both love, who I will bring up animation and they'll be like, and it's like, what are
you're
you
missing
again?
out
I'm not
on
asking.
so much.
Exactly. I'm not asking you to go watch Peppa Pig, okay? No one's sitting here telling you to go, watch In the Night Garden. That's not even animation. But
Brothers
at
Cooks.
the end of the day, the only reason why these people don't like this thing is because of preconceived conceptions.
Yeah.
And the only reason why more good animation isn't being made is stigma. I love this show called Star vs. the Forces of Evil, right? It is this amazing coming of age, romance, slice of life, cartoon TV show that's for young adults and teenagers, and it is beautifully beautiful. It is funny, it is smart, it is emotional, it is great. I love it. I think it's maybe one of my favorite pieces of animation that isn't serious animation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even then, even against like serious animation, I'd argue it's up there. When the creator was making that show, not Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon or Disney XD. No, it was Disney XD. Yeah, Disney XD was like, okay, you're making an animated show for teenagers. We need there to be school aspect.
Right,
And the
yes.
creator was like, why the hell am I going to put these characters who have the defined character arcs, who have the defined stories, why would I shove them into a cloying, tiny fucking school when I've created this entire world for a narrative to be at play? I'm fine with the idea of them going to school. I'm fine with them either going to school, but it being a consistent thing, like
Yeah.
every episode is a day in school, would just contain the story so much. You're not containing it anymore. You're keeping it captive.
Yeah.
And Disney XD was like, "Fuck you, make it at school." And then they were like, "Okay," because that's the only thing they could do to get this show off the rocker. So they created new characters.
Oh my
They created a whole school, and they created a bunch of story arcs for that school, just so the show could be shown off. Right?
God.
First season came
And then
out.
at
People
what
loved it.
point, like, is it the show that you envisioned?
I mean, from the beginning, I still quite enjoyed it because obviously I didn't know that this whole school thing was a secondary thing. They sliced it in perfectly. It was still a great show despite this, right?
Yeah.
End of season 1, the show gets like huge, great reviews. Second season gets greenlit. No more school.
Right.
You want to know why there was no more school, Nathan?
Why?
Because the creator had leverage. Because the creator
Right.
was able to go,
I will
"All right,
stop making this thing that's making you money.
exactly." And it's the same thing that happened with Gravity Falls. It's the same thing that probably happened with every single good cartoon you can think of. The creator literally had to
Oh my god,
blackmail
this idiot.
the. What happened?
He literally walks right into a mine in front of me, which blew me up.
I was gonna shoot it to set it off.
Right.
Yeah, sorry about
The same thing that happened with basically every cartoon show you can think of that is half decent. They basically have to put a bullet to their child's head and be like, it's either me or the show.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's crazy that that's what needs to be done. Not only do you need to disregard your creative ideas for the sake of appealing to a wider, like, view, a wider
Audience.
audience. Thank you. But you have to basically confront your directors, the people who are meant to be helping you out, the people who are meant to be bringing your creative idea into life. You have to confront them and go, okay, I can't be making this show if you're not going to give me creative
Freedom.
What's the word? Freedom. Thank you. And it's so depressing when you think
Yeah.
about the fact that that's shows that were popular. Nathan, think about all the shows
That didn't make
got...
it that far yet.
Exactly. The ones that got greenlit and then got stopped. I wonder why they got stopped. Infinity Train, it's not a kid show. It's a young adult show. I would argue to say it's just an adult show. It is beautiful. It is complex. It is interesting. It is funny.
Yeah.
It got greenlit. Took 1,000 years to come out. When it came out, because there was so much bullshit around it, it didn't get the views. It didn't get the response that it needed.
Yeah.
And yet the second season came out. Thank God. The second season was as good, if not better. Third season came out. It was also amazing. But no one, after the third season, no one wanted to show it on their like TV shows. It was too niche of a, like, it was a kid show and also an adult show, and it didn't fit into anywhere, and like it wasn't new, so it wasn't like bright-eyed. Like no one wanted to like have it on their their TV shows, right?
Yeah.
So I think currently, aside from like one place, you cannot watch that TV show.
Man, that's such a shame
Across
as
the
well.
planet.
It sounds like there's so much
Can't
work
watch it.
got put into this.
And here's the thing, right? It's an amazing show. People love it. Their fandom's huge. I love it, right?
Yeah.
The creator literally said, I think it was half a year ago, the creator said he doesn't mind his show being pirated. Because
Yeah.
at this point, that's basically the only way
This guy's
people
begging,
get to
bro.
experience it. Yeah. And it's...
Protect me.
Bro, it's genuinely upsetting. It makes
Yeah.
me cry.
Invincible is a good example of like
Ooh.
it nearly tricks you into thinking it's a different show because it's
Yeah,
got that
definitely.
basic style of animation. It looks exactly like something a child would watch, and it's
Yeah,
so
100%.
not. It's so not that show that you think it is.
100%. When I watch cartoon shows, some of the things that really prop up to me are the thematic and like the deep-rooted psychological thriller and horror that's going on sometimes,
Yeah,
the complex themes, all that kind of stuff. Some of the more visceral and like surface level things, when it comes to animation, you kind of have to miss out, right? Because it's like Gravity Falls. You look at the first season of Gravity Falls, there isn't much horror stuff. You see zombies, but even the zombies are like cutesy, right? Second season of Gravity Falls, you have waterfalls of blood. And the reason why Alex Hirsch was able to get away with that was because of success. The vast majority of animation shows, they can't do that. They don't have that level of creative freedom. They can't show a character being punched through the abdomen, okay? That won't fly. Infinity does have that surface level of shock and awe. And it is beautifully done. I am obsessed with how it's done in Infinity. Like, setting aside the fact that all those points I said earlier, the internal themes, the psychological that, Infinity hits all those. It checks off every single one of those, right?
hmm
Also, Nathan, are you muted again?
No.
Oh, good. Just making sure. Infinity checks off all those lists, and then it goes on and has those external type things, the visceral violence, the gore that you don't see from most animated shows, and it's well, I won't call it a fresh breeze because there's a lot of blood, but it is great. It's done beautifully.
In a way, it's just we live in such a unique time now. We have so many options. It's in some
Yeah,
ways, it's
I mean,
beautiful.
a thought I've recently had a lot of times is creative ideals, right? Once upon a time, creativity was a thing, and it still is today, where some people are more gifted than others. You may
Yeah.
argue it's nature, you may argue it's nurture, but sometimes it's skill, sometimes it's talent. Some better than others. That's the broad stroke, right? And once upon a time, to get your thing out and in front of other people, you had to be amazing. Not just talented, not just interesting,
You gotta be
amazing. You had to
the very best.
the very best that no one ever was. Okay, you had to excel, right? And I don't mean this just for animation or TV shows or movies. I mean it for something as simple as like music, something like acting, theater, art. Once upon a time, there was a deficit, right? And that
Yeah.
deficit meant those who were creative rose to the top. That is no longer a thing. No. People who are hugely creative still raise to the top, of course, but there is no deficit anymore. There is no cream rising to the top because the cream is so mixed in with the ridiculous amount of everything else that you can't really tell what's excelling and what's not.
Yeah.
Very rarely you will get something that stands out. And when you do, you will latch onto it and you make it your personality for a week or two. But that is the rarest thing. Most of the time you find a thing that's good. And like you wouldn't write home about it. It was good. I
Well,
experienced it. I enjoyed it.
that line of thought brings me to something which I've been thinking about recently, which is
Go on.
the idea of franchises and how they become big. We are currently in this awful drought, which is just full of reboots and sequels.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why these franchises started in the first place is because they come from a time in which this was all you can watch. This is all we had. Star Wars
Yeah.
in 1977, like that was it. That was the movie,
It was.
and you just had to
It
go
wasn't
and
just
see it.
it. It was revolutionary. There
Yeah,
was
and
no.
it changed.
There was
Like
no.
Jurassic Park refuses to go extinct, mainly because that's just the movie that came out that year. That was it, man. Like it was the movie. And like
Yep.
I think that that's why like I don't think that Star Wars would nearly be as successful as it is if it was
If
released
there were
today.
competitors. Yeah, 100%.
Now there is
I
so
mean,
much, and nothing is sticking the way that movies did before the 2000s, in my opinion.
no. I agree completely. Um, is it a case
Because that
of
was just some
us?
blockbuster movie, you know? So like that's just like what Star Wars was all they had that summer, and like it blew their fucking minds. Like people went crazy, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean that's one of the things, right? Once upon a time, things were revolutionary. If I could tell you how many books are inspired by Tolkien's, by
Yeah, Lord of the
what's the name of
Rings.
the guy who made Game of Thrones?
George R. R. Martin.
By R.R. Martin. By even relatively newer ones like Patrick Rothfuss, who made The Name of the Wind, or the person who made sorry, this isn't new, this is actually very old, but the person who made fuck, I forgot the name. The Wheel of Time. The Wheel of Time, who was
Mm.
finished off by Brandon Sanderson, who's a very popular modern writer today. Like, you look at writing, and it is a huge, repetitive, like, this was inspired by this. Even if they don't say it, you can read the book,
You
and you
could
can be like,
see,
oh,
yeah,
this is from this. Currently, a very big new fantasy thing is called Lit RPG, right? And it's the basis of, you have RPG games. You ever heard of World of Warcraft, Nathan?
I know what World of Warcraft is.
Yeah. And you level up as characters, and you have particular like role-playing things where you're an orc, or you're a gnome, or you're a dwarf, etc., etc., etc. And it's heavily influenced and inspired by Tolkien's works, and also a variety of mythos and the such. Now,
Yeah,
Lit RPG is diving into a world that has that game system, that leveling up system, and also has that Tolkien-type inspired universe, where you have this greeny kind of old-timey world with knights and dragons and orcs,
mm,
and you just turn it into a book. It goes from a
right.
game to a book. and it is very huge. People love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite genres. But I swear to God, sometimes it feels like I'm reading one book and then 10 fan fictions of that book that
Right, yeah.
basically have the exact same thing,
It gets so filtered
different
down.
fonts. Yeah, 100%. And like each one has like one single difference that makes it worthwhile. And it's like, and every once in a while, don't get me wrong, you find something that's different. And like the reason why it's so special is that you're able to point at it and be like, wait a minute, this
That's the
isn't
one.
repeating the same
Yeah.
thing over and over and over again. This isn't something I've experienced 1,000 times, so I haven't become desensitized to this thing. This is new, not just new, but it's good. But the reason why it's so shocking that happens is because it happens very, very rarely.
Yeah.
And that's for books. I will say when it comes to books, you can make a book in a year. You can make shows in tens of years sometimes. You make movies in even longer.
Or you could just not release them, like George R.R. Martin.
You know.
We're looking at the
That works
Winter.
Or Patrick Rothfuss, who I'm still waiting on. He's been waiting 14 years since his newest book, who said
not
was going to be
coming out.
out in 2017. And Patrick Rothfuss, I love you with all my heart, but please, I need Doors of Stone or else I'll cry myself to sleep.
He's watching.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is. All of this to say, I think it ebbs and flows. I think masterpieces are made, and then you're always going to have copies of that masterpiece. I feel like sometimes.
But even
things
Star Wars
exist...
is just a copy of other stuff as well. Like,
yeah,
nothing's
inspired
original.
by,
like Flash Gordon.
Yeah. I mean, you have something like Ender's Game. Do you know Ender's Game?
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
The movie, the book. Have you read any?
The movie, I haven't read it. I watched it though.
Okay, so the movie is
This
quite good.
Yoda
The
is
book's also
killing me.
The book's
It's the
also
same guy
very
from
good.
last round.
Rip. The author is a little bit controversial because he did, and now if I say a little bit, I mean he's very.
He's got some
he did
kids, but
fucked
other
up
than
shit.
that, he was fine.
But the
Where the
book
hell are you?
is.
Why are you so far back?
TBH. I got distracted yapping. I should probably help
Maybe
out,
like
right?
play, yeah, maybe.
I'm a bad droid. I apologize.
He's a bad droid.
Ender's Game done very well. I will say that it's probably just a copy of 1,000 different other sci-fi books, but despite that fact, it's amazing. Another example of a book that I think is maybe one of my favorite books of the last 5 years is something called The Perfect Run, and it's basically about this guy who has the power to set respawn points.
Right.
It is very much a book inspired by various other things, from games to TV shows to movies to other books. It is amazing. Despite that fact, it is amazing. And that's normal. That's not something shocking. You can have things that are inspired by other things that are also amazing. In fact, half the time, if it's inspired by something and you end up finding it, it's probably amazing. Because people wouldn't want to read or watch something that's just a copy of something else, but lesser.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop the fact that having something new is important. And especially to people like us, who absorb this kind of content.
We absorb more than probably the average person. Or at least think about stuff more. Like, we really ruminate and like digest stuff.
Yeah. For us, it's a case of we've seen those narrative points. Like, I can, it feels really bad, but I don't want to sound like I'm trying to say I'm a genius or some shit. But I can watch a show and tell you how a show's gonna end after watching 2 episodes. Because I've seen these plot points before. I've seen how it ends. I know this character's going to do this. I can tell that this is going to be this. I was like, oh, look, it's a miscommunication trope. I was like, oh, look, it's a hero's journey trope. Oh, look, it's an adverted hero's journey trope. And it's like, inverted or whatever. It's like...
That's why the Spunk universe, as viewers, that's the Sony Pictures universe and other movies. That's your
Nothing
Venom.
else.
Yeah, that's your Venoms, your Morbiuses. They're so uninspiring. They lack just any thoughts, any original thoughts, and that's why we don't like them.
Whether they have the source.
Yeah, it just sucks. It has nothing going for it.
That's another thing, right? You can have a show that's relatively creatively boring, If it's done amazingly well in other places, I'm willing to give it a pass. Some
The
movies and
Office
shows.
is
Oh,
probably one of my favorite TV shows, and it is not what I am interested in, really.
at
Paper
all. In
companies,
fact,
like I don't, like I don't,
when
it's about humans, it's about people, you know. But
yeah, I
and
mean,
that's where it
even then, right?
shines. Like
It's
it's
not.
written beautifully.
It's the thing is the narrative, the story arcs. They're interesting. They're complex. They're cool. They're great, even. But how they're performed, how they're like brought into view, the way the actors
It's
interact
beautiful.
is
Like I
art.
haven't
Is literally
watched.
art.
That's the last time like thing I've watched and really, really like just love. Like
Yeah.
that, I was staying up until God knows what hours just to watch the next episode of The Office, which is weird because
Yeah.
when you think about it, it's not really about much.
No, paper company and random bullshit.
That's
That's the
it.
gist.
That is it.
If you sit down and you really boil it down, it's a case of like at the end of the day, like it took me 6 episodes to like really get into it. After those
It
six
was the
episodes,
basketball
it
episode is
became
when I was like, oh my God. Yeah, what episode is that? I need,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I don't know what episode it is, but it's pretty early on.
Yeah, I just remember it was like a handful of episodes for me,
Because I didn't
and then
love it
after
at
that point,
first, because like I had no reason to. But as soon as I got to that basketball episode, I was invested.
yeah.
Especially the way that Stanley starts like dribbling with the with the ball.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
But then, I mean, that's just the thing, right? There's nothing, to be entirely honest, there's nothing revolutionary about the narrative of The
No,
Office. It's about a paper
there's a
company.
romantic subplot. Michael
A
Scott's like
beautiful one,
a
but it's
really
just
cool.
relatively
It's
simple.
yeah, it's simple.
You have complex people, but those complex people, they're complex because they're actually people. They're not complex because both their parents died in an accident. They're, they're
Yeah,
complex because you can sit down and genuinely believe these are people who found
that
their way
live
into Dunder
out there.
Mifflin.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's done beautifully, and it makes me think, right?
season one,
You have
episode 5 is when
Okay, yeah. So
I
it was
locked
probably that
in.
episode or right after that episode that got me as well. Fucking hell,
Yeah,
damn. Maybe there's just something they put in that episode. Holy hell.
and I was like, I need it. I need the show, and I binge watched like all of it.
Nathan, I'm gonna destroy the ship, Nathan.
Dude, you're so just to let you know, we spawned in on you.
But I was destroying a ship, Nathan. It's not important. It's
Yeah,
not important.
I do like that this game mode has that option.
Yeah, 100%. And it is just a case of it makes me a bit upset knowing that there are shows that don't have that immensely amazing narrative or plot, but are so executed just beautifully that they become one of my favorite things in existence.
Yeah.
And yet shows still can't fucking get it right. It's like, what's going on? What is being done to the industry that not only do we have ass execution, but you have ass narrative and ass characters? It's like pick a trouble, pick a struggle. It's
Well,
like choose
that's
something to be ass at.
what you say highlights my opinion on the Jurassic World movies. So The Office is a movie with it's a TV show which just has such real in-depth people, which I could believe that I know them. Jurassic Park, I've told you, I think it just has a perfect script, and like it's just acted in a way in that like I just believe these people are real. I believe in Alan Grant. But
We've been muted. But yeah,
when
go on.
when Jurassic World came out, it just felt like a cheap version of like
Knockoff.
yeah, like these characters are just archetypes. They're not people, you know. So when they're getting attacked by dinosaurs, um,
You're kind of
I don't
rooting for the
care.
dinosaur.
I'm kind of rooting for the dinosaurs, to be honest. Like, and this is the whole thing about like being a proactive and like passive character. Like I've seen the argument that Marty McFly in Back to the Future
he is not a active character. He doesn't progress
Nah.
the storyline, but
Definitely
he's
not.
very proactive as an individual, which is why like when he's dancing on stage and like playing the guitar so his parents bang, like I really believe that he has to do this or he's gonna die, you know?
Yep.
Like I believe that like when they're holding back this Velociraptor at the door in Jurassic Park, I'm afraid that he's gonna get in there. He's gonna
Like,
they're actually in danger here.
even the
And I
comedic fucking cut to the like Velociraptor grabbing the
the handle, yeah.
and turning it.
And it's just like they makes me think, oh shit, like this dinosaur's gonna kill them. Like they need to sort this
Yeah.
out. Why is no one doing? But I
don't
do
know
not
anything about this.
exactly. But I do not feel that way at all. Not one time in the entire Jurassic World trilogy, and it's
Right.
just sad, you know.
That is depressing.
Yeah.
100% depressing.
Like
Yeah,
The Office could be
just-
such a good show just because you believe in the characters, but when you don't
They're
have that,
real.
what's the point?
Nothing matters.
Like, look at you and I, viewers, me and Hadefa, we made an effort to go watch all these horror movies in cinema, like 2022, 2023.
That was a fun
And
time.
we could say that the best ones that we watched were the ones which made us care about the characters before
Yeah.
it
110%.
went down, you know? A Quiet Place works so well because you believe in that family. Maybe we're just big fans of John Krasinski on this channel, I don't know.
Apparently.
But, yeah,
I mean, I know I am.
yeah. But, that's why, like, when we saw A Quiet Place at day one, it is different because it's not a family aspect which is being portrayed, you know?
100%.
Not saying it's
I
a
definitely
worse
didn't enjoy it as
film,
much.
but it's different. You have to be like when Emily Blunt's character is pregnant in Quiet Place. Like this is a problem. Like I'm thinking this is what they're gonna do. You know?
Like, the thing is, right, so it is this psychological thriller and a horror movie. Honestly, the psychological thriller aspect is you sitting there and going,
She has to give birth. Yeah. And like a child dies at the start of this movie, so like that's just on the table. They could do it. So you just don't know. Stakes is something which is so important in these movies. Whereas like I
And
don't
also,
feel
stakes
that.
is something that can... Stakes is something that can be done so fucking badly. Sometimes writers know stakes are important, and they purposely try to create this... And I'm just saying they're like, fuck off, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a case of... I genuinely feel like writers forget about stakes.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I'm gonna make these characters, they're interesting. I'm gonna make the story this interesting.
Stuck.
And you're sitting there, rip. And you're sitting there going like, I mean, this movie's fun, but there's something missing. The thing that's missing is why. Why is this here? What's the purpose? It's like, I don't wanna say it because low-key, I've done some amateur writing before, and it's definitely come to mind, right? Sometimes you really do want to make a side character that's very easy to like. You
Yeah.
want to create a side character that's really easy to like, and then you want to know what you want to do to that side character.
You want to kill them.
You want to kill the shit
Like
out of them.
I can't believe that. Like I couldn't save. Oh, you haven't watched. There's characters in Stranger Things. Well, okay, this is an example, Adefa, of how the writing of Stranger Things I feel has changed over time. Because every single season they make a new character which gets murdered. There's a new side character which is really likable. And in the first two seasons, it's like, oh, okay, it's weird this happened twice. But by the third one, you're like, oh, he's the one that's going to die by the end of this season.
You're like, he's gone.
And then the stakes are gone. And also, the fact that we know too much about... Oh, man, there's a lot of them. We know too much now as well as, like, a generation about movies. We know so much about movies before they come out.
The kiss of death is real and it exists. Like, you can see in the eyes of a character if they're gonna die. And it's not even like the jokey thing where it's like the black guy dies in a horror movie first. GG's. It's like sometimes you paint a character in a particular way. Like sometimes it's something as simple as like they're not problematic enough.
Yeah.
Like you've thrown in this character, they're not problematic enough, and instantly you understand that there needs to be a level of stake raised. You're like, he's dead, and then he dies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is. It is.
See,
It can be
like I told you,
the
I've been
death of a
watching
thing for me.
Breaking Bad recently, and like
You have no big
there
spoilers.
are
But go on.
things in in the show which make me feel like I don't know what's gonna happen next. Like I genuinely
Yeah.
don't know.
See, that's what cuts between a good movie and a movie that's just trying to be good, right?
Yeah,
And I know that sounds so mean, but it's like, if I sit there and I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen next, chances are I'm hooked. Game of
yeah,
Thrones, right?
mm,
And I won't say, I'm not gonna sit down and narratively state that it's a masterpiece.
it
I
is
think
though.
it's great, but I'm gonna
Yeah,
not give that answer until I've watched every single episode. From what I've seen so far, I'm leaning towards yes, it is. And I feel like one of the biggest fucking things that clarify that fact to me is that I don't know who's gonna die next. It could
it's
be
not even just
main
about like
characters.
deaths. It's just every aspect of the
Everything.
show.
Anything.
Like,
Yeah.
what did
Who's
Podrick
gonna
do
be
to the girls? Like, we
what
just
did he
don't know.
do to this
Like, we just don't know what's gonna happen.
Like, no, generally, if there's some random prostitute that's been on the screen more than once, I'm already thinking, how is she going to accidentally kill the king? Like, how is she going to find her
Yeah,
way
yeah.
into the schemes of this sorcerer or priestess? It's like, I don't know. And I feel like that is the mark of something done well. And
But
obviously,
I
go on.
think that there's also I've told you about the Walking Dead spin-off shows, and this is
Right.
where I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's for the worse. It's like it's in a bad way, where
Okay.
they can
Right.
surprisingly kill off main characters, but it doesn't. It's more for shock
It
value,
hit.
not for plot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
it is just shock value. It's not doing anything for like
See,
in spoiler alert, viewers. If you don't want to know, skip ahead. In the first season of Game of Thrones, Ned Stark dies, and because of that, that sets off the course for the next like 8 seasons. That ruined
yeah,
everything.
it
There
ruins
is
everything.
there's a reason, and there's reasons why it happened. He made foolish mistakes, and you don't get saved for being a good guy in the show.
Nope.
You
Nope.
die, and it doesn't matter. You
You
could be a bad
die.
guy as well. You also die if you
You
if
die.
you fuck up, you die. Okay,
You can not fuck up. You can do everything right and then you still die.
but more importantly, there are everlasting effects because of that death,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
that's
you
what's
know,
more important.
the the inverse is also super true. Sometimes someone really important or something really important is about to happen and then they die and
Yeah,
then nothing comes of it. And it's
exactly.
honestly quite the shock. I think it was around season 4 something happened. I won't say what, but things happened before then, and it
Yeah,
had my brain going down particular routes. It had me going, "Oh, I know this is gonna happen, which
yeah.
means that this is possible." And then another thing happens,
A
and
penny
now
drops, and then yeah, the
the
whole
entire
course
tree.
of everything is gone.
Yep. And it's just a case of like, good on you, man. I
You've
genuinely didn't expect this to
surprised
happen.
me. You have
Yeah.
surprised me, show. And that's when it's good.
Um.
But I mean, like in the spin-off shows, like really built
Walking
up
Dead.
characters over the episode that you meet will then die, and you're like, oh, okay.
Why?
And that was that. And then it kind of just feels like a waste of my time, you know?
I feel that. Oh, I definitely feel that. I mean, it is just what I was telling you, right? So, writers who want to find a way to make you feel about their characters real quick, you make a character, you make it very easy to like, or even interesting, or even just present, TBH. Kill them off,
I love
boom, you've
characters which
created...
you start to root for as well, and it's like, oh, I see how we're here, like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and
But,
then they're just taking away from the just as they're gonna unlock their true potential. That's good source, you know?
yeah, I mean, it's good source. It's also a painful source. I will
Yeah.
say, as someone who has consumed enough books to be, like... I would never call myself a savant. More like a drug addict, if drugs were books, right? Um, I have seen so much like grim dark stuff. I've seen so much sad that
Mm.
sometimes sometimes I stop reading books because I'm like, this is too fucking depressing. This book is too depressing. Like I genuinely didn't want that character
Getting
to
destroyed.
like have all their teeth ripped out before their arms were cut off and they were sent to an insane asylum. And it's like, why am I reading this? But yeah, sorry, small tangent.
Yeah.
I sometimes I like being in a position where I can have bad things happen to the character, but also I'm not wanting to like my mental health isn't failing because of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure.
And sometimes the opposite would feel good. Like feel good books sometimes do the complete opposite, where they make everything happy-go-lucky and everything's going right for the character. And I'm sitting there like I'm bored. Can we have some interesting shit happen?
Yeah.
So I really am a big follower of there being a medium, a healthy medium that must be followed. And when that medium isn't followed, you either get something that's a bit too grimdark or something that's a bit too happy-go-lucky.
Like, I want to be
Game of
screaming
Thrones.
at the screen when things get like happen, you know.
Yeah.
Like even
Also,
like not it doesn't have to be like grim like death. Like even stuff like Jim leaving Dunder Mifflin in season 3
See,
to go to a different site
stakes.
had me going
Stakes.
crazy.
100%. Because the thing is, right? There are two ways I feel like stakes can become really, truly important. The first is how intense those stakes are. So death is a pretty big fucking stake.
Yeah.
And the second is how much it affects you, right?
Hmm.
You create a character, you make people love this character, you kill that character off, obviously it's going to affect you. Clearly, right? But here's the thing. You create a character that you genuinely love, and then you put them in a situation that on an actually genuine level would affect you as well. Like they're going through a big change, like their parents getting divorced, or a friend they love is leaving, going to a different school, and you can feel what they're feeling. Sometimes it's even more than them just dying. Because at least then it's a moment of like, oh shit, and then a reaction, and then that's it. But when you have those more prolonged stakes, it's like those emotions get drained out of you almost. And if it's done well,
God.
it can be done better than I outright.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I was running to help you, but I was
Law accurate Grievous.
on guard.
Oh wait, move back a bit so I can spawn in on you. Oh, sorry.
I need to help
Yeah, no,
this
that's fine.
guy against Grievous once more. Okay, he ran. Alright. Oh shit, I'm getting blown up. Do these giant thingies like lock onto you? Because holy shit.
Yeah, I think so. But then yeah, that's also about the relationship that the writers have with the viewer is so important. And that's another thing that like The Walking Dead has done so wrong. Like I told you about the death fake out because he crawled under a bin thing. Like
Right.
it gets to a point where it's like, oh sure, someone's gonna die, and then when they do die, it's kind of like, oh well, I kind of emotionally detached from him now from the bin situation. So
Yeah. That, and then also it's like the desensitizedness, right?
yeah,
If you kill a character every 5 seconds, I'm gonna stop caring about characters' lives.
yeah, exactly.
You kill a character once in a 5-season show, death is around every corner, number one, and number two, I'm shook.
Yeah,
I'm going to be like, who's next?
no one is
and
safe.
It's a fine line to crawl. It's a fine line to walk on. But when it's walked on well, you create stakes without ruining characters, without ruining. Oh my god, character assassination for the sake of like moving a story forward, for the sake of making stakes, makes me want to rip apart a show.
So this is
Genuinely
why you're gonna not like the last season of Game of Thrones.
amazing,
Because it is
delightful.
called character assassination.
Okay, delightful.
Yeah.
Hooray! You create a character, you make them diverse, you make them interesting, you make them complex, you give them this, that. These are their foils, these are their enjoyments, these are their complexities, and then you kill them emotionally. You use them as a tool to do something, you use them as a tool for the narrative, and you piss in the face of their character,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear anything.
See,
just get out.
this is a common misconception about Joel in The Last of Us Part 2. Spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2. If you haven't played the game, you don't want to know, skip
Loki,
ahead.
We haven't played the entire game.
We haven't played the entire game, no, but you've played up until day one Seattle.
Yeah, correct.
But they think that the way that Joel passes is a spit in the face to his character. And that's just entirely wrong. Like, clearly these people just didn't play the game properly, or just like they just stopped playing halfway through for whatever reason. But you just have to give it time.
Misconception of a character.
Yeah,
Sometimes
exactly.
There's
things that I could kind of see, because it's like, why would Joel stand in a room with strangers, like right in the middle, and announce his full name? But also, Joel's gotten old. Like he's an older man. He's lost his edge. So
also you have to think about the fact
he's gotten softer in Jackson. He's not surviving.
Joel went from being a dad to a man with nothing, a criminal, someone who did anything for survival, to a man who had survived maybe the
20 plus years in the hardest apocalypse to live in.
Yeah, not just an apocalypse
on both sides as well.
World. Not just apocalypse on the physical world, but an apocalypse on the mental world as well, right?
Yeah.
And he'd come out, honestly, a man with at least some level of if not honor, restraint. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't shoot a kid in the face. I mean, most of the time. And it's just the case of that person then found Ellie, right? And you could see it as the show went through. You could see that this aspect of this human being that he probably thought died a long, long time ago, it came back. It returned to him.
And it's such an important thing about building relationships in media is that I love Joel Miller and I love Ellie Williams. But more importantly, I love these two characters individually and together. And that's why I love it. And sometimes they are so good on their own and they are so good together. It's rewarding when they're together because of how much you like them individually. The hell?
Yep. I sometimes I can't explain it. Sometimes I go, I love this person. Like, if there's sometimes there's a hot girl on a show, and I'm like, I love her. And like, obviously the assumption made is that I want to marry this woman, and 90% of the time I do. But for like Jim
and that is correct. Next point.
Jim and Pam is a great example. I love their relationship. That is what I love.
Yeah,
I am in love with their relationship.
No, I was falling in love with the two of them by watching this show. The way that they look at each other is like, and everything's written, and it's so much is said and so much is not said, and it's so loud. It's so crazily loud. It works so well, Hadefa.
Yeah, it is great.
Oh my god, peak writing.
Peak writing for Joel. He developed as a character, not in ways you expect most characters to be developed. 90% of the time you have a blank slate and that blank slate develops. You had a full plate, a completely colored in watercolor, right? That got a little bit of the crusty old dark paint ripped off it and a little bit of that color underneath to return. And then you stuffed that character into a town where he didn't have to worry about dying every 5 seconds. For how many years?
4 years.
For 4 years?
4 to 5 years.
Obviously, this man who honestly, how old was he at the beginning of Last of Us 1?
He's already like 50.
Yeah, this ancient mofo who has probably lived longer than the vast majority of his generation.
Of the human population, by the way.
Yeah, he's probably emotionally as old as an 100-year-old, TBH. So yeah, I think it made complete. I won't go into specifics, but it made sense to me. I don't think there was any form of character assassination. In fact, anyone calling that character assassination doesn't understand.
Means. He doesn't understand the game, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, character assassination is something very close to my heart because I will find every writer and creator who does character assassination, and I'll assassinate them. Because it is a crime to
Well,
me. It
David
is
and Dan are
genuinely.
gonna get it.
Who's David and Dan?
They are the season 8 writers because they
How bad is
really
it? I'm kind
do.
of curious now.
It's bad. Like,
Okay.
but the thing
Well, I'm
is,
gonna look forward to that.
I can I could justify it, so it's okay.
See, if you can justify it, it's a character. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
trust me, it
Let me
is.
paint.
No. There's some characters that
No.
get off good, and there's some characters that are completely ruined.
Right. I'm so
Like,
morbidly curious.
completely ruined.
Okay. Okay. Character assassination, very, very bad. I hope they don't do to my boy Tyrion bad, and I hope they don't do my boy John bad. And
Well,
of course,
we'll
I
see if
hope they
they're
don't really
alive
go.
by the end of the show.
That's true. Number
Who's left by the end of the show?
I'm
We'll see.
assuming, you know, crippled boy. He's the least likely to survive, so I think he's the most likely to survive.
Brandon Stark.
Random Stark.
No, Brandon
His
Stark
name-
is Rickon. He's the most
His name-
forgotten. You know Rickon Stark?
Rickon Stark. He kind of sounds like Random Stark. If you say his name.
Brandon Stark. Bran Stark sounds like Random Stark. Yeah,
Oh, that's true. Brand's the one that's slightly younger
that's
than
the
him,
cripple.
innit? Oh, which one's the cripple? Brandon Stark?
Yeah,
He kind of sounds like Random Stark. That's really
but
funny. to me,
Rickon
actually.
Stark is definitely
Rickon
the
is Random
forgotten
Stark.
one. He is the Random Stark.
I wonder if he's gonna end up being important somehow. We shall
Spoiler
find out.
alert: he's the king at the end of the show.
Wait, really?
No, or is he? Ooh.
We may never know. Okay. All of this to say, character assassination is one of my. Okay, I talk about tropes. Character assassination isn't a trope. Character assassination is a crime. And when it's done, it just ruins the entire thing to me. Like, I generally, I don't know how to describe it. Sometimes, you know what character assassination means to me, Nathan? It means the writer was able to make a good character. Because you
It's the
can't do
possibility,
character assassination.
which is what angers you more.
Yeah, you can't do character assassination without making a
Wait,
good
what's the
character.
worst character assassination in your mind?
I don't have a list. Most of the times when I find books that do character assassination, usually it's done after a while, okay? Because you can't really do character assassination well unless you have a pre-stated, well-developed character, right? There are some book series when I have watch a character, gone through the ringer, had gone through emotional points in their life, had come to decisions, and you were there, present for all these decisions, and then they made another decision that seemed so broken when you thought about their life experience that you could very clearly see that isn't the reason why that decision was made. And then if you do a little bit of more digging, you can also very clearly see, oh, the reason why that was done is because the writer needed an excuse to do this. Or it's like, oh, there was an untidy plot point, and the only way you could tidy that plot point up was by ruining this character's opinions on this and making him do that.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't like.
I think
I'm
a good
trying to think
example
about-
of that is more so like when they clearly already mapped the ending, but they don't think about the journey. They know how they want a show to end, but then it's like, how do we get here? So
how
it's
do
like,
we get
oh,
there? And
well,
then
they could
when
just
you're
do
pushed to
this.
that point, when you're pushed to that point, rather than thinking of an interesting, complex way to reach that point, you just kind of split. You go, oh, I'll just make him do that without thinking about what that means.
Yeah.
Which is, it's, most of the time when people do character assassination, I don't really put it down to I don't put it down to like, whoopsie doopsie, I didn't think about how that would be perceived. I think it's a genuine act towards. It's like, okay, the easiest way to deal with this is if I do this, this, and this. so I'm gonna do this, this, and this, despite the fact I know this isn't what the character would do.
Yeah.
And it makes me upset because it just means you've disregarded a character that you've just created, and you've obviously cared about this character because you made them, and you made them complex enough to be assassinated.
I was just
Sorry,
looking at a Reddit post about
go
character
on.
assassinations. And well, this person is saying Andy Bernard from The Office in the final season is
I haven't watched the final season of The Office.
of course you haven't.
I'm really bad with endings. I don't like endings.
Why am I not surprised? Or let's see. In Community, season 3, Annie goes through an arc where she is essentially grows out of her schoolgirl phase and moves on from her infatuation with Jess, discovering her own self-worth, only for season 4 to completely regress the character, where she continues to dress like a child
So
and
true.
acts like an infatuated schoolgirl around
True.
Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, would I call that as character assassination? I'm not sure. I think
If
it
the
is,
character
very technically
regresses,
speaking.
then I do think that that counts.
Yeah, but to me, it's like character like homicide. TBH, it's like
Ah,
it's like
yes.
third degree murder. Is character
What
third degree murder?
murder? There's this really long post about Barney from How I Met Your Mother.
Bro, are we about to get hallway scened? I don't like this. It's a trap. All right, we move.
This would be a cool phase, but I don't think that they could actually get here. Like, this is out of bounds. I had to sneeze.
Yeah, I've never even thought about that anything. Like, no, I've always like thought about it as in like I know it happens. I know they fuck their character up. Not even fuck it up. Like Annie's still an amazing character after that point, but in that specific sense of her character, she does definitely regress. But I never really perceived it in a way of character assassination. I kind of just
It
disregarded
depends
it because
on plot. Yeah, I think like on why these things happen.
See, the reason why I think her character regressed is just because her character was more entertaining this way.
Yeah.
And she, TBH, she was. At the end of the day, Community is a comedy show first, and a drama second. In the sense of Annie and her relationship to Jeff especially, it is a case of you sit there and you watch these two characters interact, and in season 3 you have this moment where it's like, oh my god, yeah, these things do happen, and it's very interesting and emotional, and like you're moved by it. But at the end of the day, rip, I just saw you get murked.
Oh, I thought I avenged you as well.
Nah, he dodged your bombs very easily.
Thanks.
At the end of the day,
You couldn't let me have
you're
that,
here
could
to
you?
watch you're here to watch these characters interact, and for you to be ha 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 ha, not for you to be like, wow, what a diverse and interesting character arc. You know what I mean? You can have both, and I think the fact that her character regressed was definitely something that I noticed and didn't like, but it wasn't something that ruined the show to me. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I mean to say. Sure, it was character assassination, but funnily enough, despite all my whining and bitching about character assassination, it was a form of character assassination that not only did I not notice right away, it didn't ruin the show. Which is good, because I don't want Community to be ruined for me. I know some people don't like Community because of the things they did in it, and because near the end they kind of... Are you an Ewok hunter right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh god, it's Darth Vader. I'm gonna get him.
Just beat his ass, man. Ewok, come on.
Okay, so this one says, Barney from How I Met Your Mother spent an entire show building him up as a giant arsehole, so when you give him an excellent story arc with Robin, where his character grows and matures because of his relationship, it has actual meaning, and the audience actually roots for him to be better and sees him as more than a character, only to pull the rug from underneath as a character we've grown to like, so that we can shoehorn in spoilers final act, Ted being able to finally be in a relationship with her. They made Barney unlikable, the unlikable reason why his relationship falls apart, blah blah blah. Takes away the character growth. Yes, he gets his baby daughter. That means everything, consolation prize. But even this is very one-dimensional compared to the hard work that went into redeeming his character. Very frustrating and unfair, in my opinion. Also, alternate ending. Yeah, okay, but that's that.
Yeah, I would have to rewatch How I Met Your Mother to give a valid answer to this, because at this point it's been so long,
Yeah.
I can't even fully visualize Barney's character arc. But I mean, it doesn't sound wrong. What say you? You've watched it
I've
most.
watched him recently than you. You see, my problem is it's not with Robin. It's
Never.
Barney. Barney should not be with Robin, in my opinion,
Right.
because Barney screwed up twice before. He should have at least ended up with Nora, who I think is the ideal partner, or Quinn, the stripper.
Right.
Those were two actually good companions for Barney. And then I felt like the whole Robin thing was kind of just too forced in, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So by the time it got there, I was like, well, he's just going to mess it up again. Like he did before. And then, spoiler alert, yeah, he did.
Yeah. Checks out.
But then again, I'm
Okay.
not someone who hates the ending of How I Met Your Mother, so.
Okay, but in the
Like,
question of
in terms
character
of character
assassination,
assassination,
yay or nay?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna have to review this.
Because
At the very least,
he goes back to a worse version of the man he was before.
himself. Right. Yeah.
And he's old now, so like it's even worse.
What does that tell you? Yeah. There's no more growth left. That's a
Yeah.
scary thought. You know, we talk about characters all the time and their development and shit. There comes a time when a character can't develop anymore, which I will talk about in two facets. First, the philosophical one, age, where you get so close to dying that there's no development you can make anymore. Or when you get to like around 25, your frontal cortex fully grows in and your decision-making ability gets solidified. So make sure you're in a good place then, I guess. Those are the two main ones that come to mind in the real life. Story-wise, there is a period of time I think a character should change for the better or worse, and then changes again are fine, especially if they're done well. But most of the time, characters that have more than a singular arc, more than just one movement, like I don't mean like an arc that happens throughout a very long period of time, because that's something completely different. But like an arc that has its beginning, middle, and end, only to end with another arc that has a beginning, middle, and end.
Sorry, dude, my
Half the time it's
controller
done.
died. I missed like some of that, yeah. You said
What?
multiple arcs was the last thing I heard.
Yeah. Characters that have multiple arcs, I feel like are harder to get right than ones with just a single arc. Was the gist.
Mm.
I can't think of any examples right now, but that's my view on the characters when I see them in books and
So,
shows and such.
character with multiple arcs is harder.
Not just harder, right? But is it like, if you can do one character arc on a complex character that has many different facets, doing more than one is like there's this level of realism that must be for. Oh shit! I accidentally got locked into the enemy side. Whoops. Nathan, open the door. Okay. I didn't know they lock you in. What the fuck?
Yeah, man, those doors closed. Those bad boys closed, man.
But yeah, all of this to say, characters should be aged like wine. I don't know if Iron have a particular time where you have to stop or otherwise it starts getting bad. But I've seen it so many times when a character just keeps pushing forward and forward and forward. It's like you're trying to milk a rock. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like you got some water out of that fucking rock. I don't know how you did it, but please stop.
Yeah.
Gonna snap it off. But yeah. I digress. Were there more of those character assassination ones?
I'll have to look on my death. I'll have a peek.
Also, I've been playing so ass. I've been so distracted yapping instead.
I've been playing awfully the past like 5 rounds. This is probably the worst content we have ever produced. We've had one guy who's been coming in and out of the stream though.
Is it the same person?
I don't know.
It's probably just a bunch of different people coming in and out.
That's true. Oh my god. Do you think that Han Solo in The Force Awakens is an example of a character regression?
Which one's The Force Awakens?
Episode 7. It's
I
the
never watched
first of
that
the
one.
sequel trilogy, right? Well, basically,
Yeah.
Han goes back to just doing what Han was doing before A New Hope.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he just starts smuggling again.
Doesn't he get with Leia?
Nah, they're not together.
What?
Yeah.
That's depressing.
Yep. I think that Han's actually really good in that movie. Like, genuinely great. But he
Force
kind
Awakens?
Force Awakens. But he does just go back to doing
See,
Han stuff.
okay. So
And I like Han
there
in A
is-
New Hope, so like, maybe that's
there is an
why.
argument. There is an argument for yes, you can have a character. Let's have a conversation here. This is a podcast booth.
Yeah.
There is an argument for a character regressing for a reason versus a character who's been assassinated for the sake of insert reason here. For example, Annie, she had a huge emotional moment with Jeff. The relationship kind of
Annie?
stuff happened. And she grew for the better, for at least from our perspective. And then the next season comes out, and that growth was present, and like it's a very canonical show. Like those things happen, and they do affect the show. But the growth scene kind of just disappears,
Yeah.
and that's not done for any functional reason. It's not like Annie had an experience during the summer, and now she's like more immature again for whatever reason. Insert reason here. It literally only happens. What the fuck? I got killed by an Ewok hunter.
You're never safe.
It literally only happens for the sake of the writers to have that thing. So did Han Solo have the same thing, or was there a present and reasonable reason why he went?
Wait, you know about Kylo Ren, right?
He's the son of Han Solo and Leia, right?
Yeah.
That's
Basically,
all I know.
so my biggest problem with The Force Awakens is that it is A New Hope, but done worse. And
Okay.
the reason why he's no longer with Leia and he's smuggling again is because Ben, Kylo Ren turned to the dark side, so he was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go back to doing what I used to do, which means that automatically Chewie is just gonna follow Han, and Leia went back to doing rebellion stuff, just like she did at the start of A New Hope. And Luke Skywalker's just gone. So it is A New Hope.
So when you said it's basically the New Hope, you weren't exaggerating.
No,
You
they
mean-
blow up the Death Star. Like, it's the same movie. It's the same movie.
Same.
Yeah.
They were like, what should we do to make the new movie? Let's make it exactly the same as the old movie. Okay. That's a crazy take.
Yep.
I'm kind of shocked. It sounds like character assassination from my perspective.
Okay, so do
reason
you want to know
why-
more similarities between The Force Awakens and A New Hope? Off the top of my head. Okay, desert planet. No, it's not Tatooine, it's Jakku. You've got the lead, which wants to escape and earns for a more exciting life and doesn't know who their parents are. It's Luke Skywalker. meets an old man
Skywalker.
who
What?
tells him about the specialties of the Force and the wider
Ben
universe.
Kenobi.
That's Han Solo's role in this movie. But also,
Han becomes Ben?
kinda. Well, Han explains that the Force is real, and sure, like here's a lightsaber. Just
That's not true. The Force is fake.
Well, no, I mean he banged the Jedi, so
No, the Force is a bunch of mumbo jumbo. I know Han Solo. That's exactly what he'd say.
that is what he would say. What else? There's the Darth Vader. There's the villain. He has a red lightsaber, and he's pretty angry.
Nice.
And there's a planet destroying weapon.
Wait, does it destroy planets?
Yeah, it destroys planets.
Ah, well, that's a tick. Okay.
It destroys like 3.
Oh, that's 2 more than the. Nice.
Yeah.
You got a new record.
Yeah, man. And the desktop plans are involved in a droid, actually. Oh yeah, okay. So so Oscar
Where's
Isaac,
R2-D2?
he's inactive since Luke Skywalker is banished. So he's with Princess Leia, just like the star of A New Hope.
Nice.
Wait, what's the other similarity? Okay, so Poe Dameron was on a mission to get valuable information of the destination of Luke, I think it was. So he's got valuable information which he stores in a droid, bruh.
He got me. Stores in a droid. Okay.
Just like so it's the R2-D2 thing. They're doing the R2-D2 thing. You know, with the desktop plans in R2 and this is just
Bro,
this Luke.
you got killed by Rey. I got killed by Obi-Wan.
Bruh.
And then Luke Skywalker just walked by us. Hey, let's become Jedi, bro.
And then the old man dies on the Death Star planet, and then that's Star Wars.
Does he disappear?
Yeah, he kind of does actually. He falls down he just falls off the rails and dies. So.
Does he actually die?
Yes. You knew Han died, right?
Yeah, I already knew
Oh,
he
okay.
died. I didn't know how he died, though. So you did spoil that.
Well, I don't tell you how he died, but he dies.
Fell into a well.
He falls down the well, yeah. And then that's, and then they blow up. There's a trench run. There's an actual trench run, and then that is the end of the movie.
Rip. I killed someone and the game ended, so I was like, did we win?
Defeat.
That's not gonna explode? Nice.
Yeah. So
I've never seen that defeat sign.
that's why The Force Awakens is just A New Hope, but worse.
Alright. Okay. Alright, Nathan.
Hadafa.
I'm sorry to break it to you, but I think I'm going to head off now.
That's fine. We've been streaming for nearly 3 hours.
God damn.
Been
Wait, has it
yapping
been
for
that
3
long?
hours. Yeah, 2 hours and 53 minutes.
Alright, you have more than enough content to blackmail me for the rest of my life, so you're welcome.
Well, this was a fun stream.
It was quite entertaining. I like this. This is
Yeah.
like a just chatting stream.
Just yap, see.
My throat actually hurts from all the fucking bullshit I was
Dick that you
talking
suck.
about.
What?
Hey! I thought it was meant to be PG rated.
No child will sit through 3 hours of us yapping. I think they'd rather
Not
blow their
true.
brains out.
That's kind of shit I do. Way back when.
That's
I was
some
a
Hadafa
weird
activities.
kid. Yeah. Very
Oh.
bizarre child, TBH.
TBH. I love.
But yeah. Okay. This has been a good session.
Subscribe.
You do want to end the live now? Subscribe. And hit that like button, guys. Don't forget to hit that little bell.